Sir, you're charged with especially aggravated kidnapping. You're also charged with aggravated assault, and you're charged with theft of a firearm worth less than $2,500.
You're talking about stuff that is not relevant.
Hello and welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict, and boy, do I have a case for you today.
Why is the dog chewing on this guy?
I think they have got the wrong guy there.
Got the wrong guy, and the dog was biting him.
He roughing him up quite a bit. There's a lawsuit.
9 out of 10 judges prefer watching the Recovery Addict live stream in their courtroom.
The fireworks are not done.
Now we're getting commentary on the case.
Correct.
Dati mihi Anglican, boys. Verbis Latina.
That's literally not true.
I didn't ask you to interrupt me. Oh, for Trump's sake.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the Court of Public Opinion. I am the Recovery Addict. It's good to have you all here on this bright and shiny Thursday. By all of you, I'm specifically including Schmoopy69, who was first in chat today. Congratulations, Schmoopy. Your promptness, your eagerness for the morning has got you in trouble. And we're going to punish you by sentencing you to internet ownership. Everything IP related worldwide for the rest of the day is your responsibility. Congratulations and thank you. We finally have our very own RA True Crime to discuss it. Oh, man. Yes, I've already had my first meeting of the day, about 6:35 this morning with the police. So that was fun. As somebody, I'll tell you. Hang on. Maybe I should show you. Let's see. I think I got this here. There it is. Send this one. The airdrop. That's not it. That's it. There we go. Cancel that one. It's taking forever. Hang on. Give it a second. Yes. Oh, yes. A few of you may know, a couple of you may know that I, in fact, did decide to decorate my house in the spirit of Halloween. And we decided to go with a crime scene motif, right? And so if you were to go out and look at the front of my house right now, you would actually find crime scene tape up around the yard. You would see a chalk outline of a body on the sidewalk, and all all the fixings that go along with that. We're slowly putting together the scene that will be laid out on Halloween. To sort of give the feel of a crime scene. This morning, promptly at 6:30 this morning, somebody thought that maybe I needed a little help. That maybe I was either going too slowly, or that I hadn't really thought it through completely, and that I needed to add a little something to the look to make it complete. Oh, man, I have to rotate these. Hang on. How to rotate. Tools. Left. Right. Save. Okay, there's one. And now the other one. Tools, rotate left. Rotate right. I don't know why Mac does this, but it fixes it, I think. And save. There we go. And we'll bring this one in. And it did fix it. And this one in. Did that work? No, it didn't. Oh, wait. Hold, please. Oh, that's a movie? I don't want the movie. We'll just do a picture. Sorry. This is all you get. This morning, somebody thought they'd add to my decorations and gave me this on the door. They shot my door, the front of my door. Probably with an air gun is what we're thinking, air rifle. The bullet did not go through the second door. That's why I think so. 6:30 from the street, so nobody was on the porch. We heard, it's funny because Mrs. R.A. and I were awake upstairs, and we heard it impact the wall, but we also heard the sound through the house. So it was like the crack like that. It was like two sounds simultaneously. So we heard the break from the inside, and we also sort of heard through the wall, which was near us, the break from downstairs. And so I have that to fix today. It looks now it looks more, honestly, it does look more like a crime scene. Nobody on the porch to film. There was nobody there. It was from a distance. So I don't typically record the street and beyond. But now the crime scene is complete. Unfortunately, there is glass everywhere, and it's ready to just shatter and fall everywhere. I think when my cat comes to the front door to get food this morning, it's going to get a surprise of its life. But I have to go do that. How did you explain the chalk outline to the police? And the police tape. I mean, I had to explain both. But somebody did that. So thank you. But in the future, as I said on the post, if you could just maybe make a written recommendation of what I should add to my Halloween decorations and let me decide if we want to do it or not, that would be great. So, wow, Tony Green, that is awesome. Country Sampler Magazine. My homes will never be on that. I will tell you, mine will be like, fixer-uppers are us. Here's a model home. Look for something like this. Buy something like this cheap and then fix it up and make a lot of money. That's the one my home's going to be on. All right. If it was someone from chat, who would it be? Greeners, you know. I've got a couple ideas. Amber's like, even though I'm close, it's not me. All right. We have a couple things to do this morning other than fix glass. Everyone's fine. I have 3 alibis. None of them agree with each other, but I have 3 alibis. We've got a few things to do before we begin court, which is going to start here shortly. We have to celebrate some birthdays. Yeah, if it were a bullet from a firearm, like a gun, I would treat that a little differently than if it was just an air rifle. This is most likely some kids just Halloween pranks. Yeah, it's terrible. It's a pain in the butt for us to try to fix the door that. It's hard to repair things that were built 115 years ago. Can I just say that? And so when we have glass that was, really old, that would be a problem. Luckily, this glass is not that old. This glass is not that type of glass. This has probably been broken sometime in the last 115 years and replaced. But the door itself is like a completely non-standard, very thin door, and I don't know how I'm going to get it done, but we'll figure it out and get it done. All right. At least it wasn't like the beveled glass rose stained glass window that was next door. Or the sunrise stained glass on top of the door. It could have been worse. All right, we have a couple birthdays to celebrate today. Grace, which is a heavenly birthday. Thank you, Josh, for this. Harper, Judy T, Mr. Legally Blonde, and Sarah. And somebody's calling in to add to this, maybe.
Call from
Teresa.
Hey, Teresa. This is Ari. How are you doing? You're on the air.
Hey, I'm okay. I can't get in. It says only members can chat publicly, and it says subscribers only mode.
Okay.
But I know
you're probably not logged in on YouTube to your account, or you're logged into somebody else's account. But what you can do right now, first thing, is just click the subscribe button again.
I did.
And then you should be able to chat. Is it working?
No. It says only channel subscribers of 5 minutes or longer can send messages.
Okay, so the account you're logged into on YouTube, it might be your husband's or your child's or your neighbor's, whoever uses your computer. It's probably somebody else's account. So I have to thank you, first of all, for subscribing on their behalf. And if it was your account and if you accidentally unsubscribed and subscribed again, it does make you wait 5 minutes.
Well, why don't I try sending a super sticker and see if that works?
I would never be opposed to somebody trying to send me money. That's always a great way to see what works. But I can tell you, it will work in 5 minutes.
Just to see.
Yeah, if everyone wants to send a super chat right now just to see if their chat works, that is okay. That's not frowned upon.
Okay, let's see.
It
went through. So
yeah, so if you wait just a couple minutes, it'll let your text come through as well. It's just
okay.
Teresa, thank you very much. Appreciate the super sticker.
Oh, you're welcome.
So have a great day. All right.
You too. Bye.
Bye. That's super kind of her. Thank you. Thank you, Teresa, for the super sticker. All right, we have some birthdays to celebrate before we go to court, which is getting ready. So let's do that quickly because I know sometimes they start early. Where did they go? I have to back up just a bit. Looking for Josh's. Hang on, Josh. I can find it. You don't have to type it again. Wait. Okay, fine. I'll use this one. Thank you, Josh, for that. All right. Everyone stand up, take your breath, shoulders back, project your voice to the back of the room, blend your voice with your neighbor, warm up with me if you will. La 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 la. We're singing happy birthday to Grace, heavenly birthday, Harper, Judy T, Mr. Legally Blonde, and Sarah. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Grace, Harper, Judy T, Mr. Legally Blonde, and Sarah. Happy birthday to you. Harper, Judy T, Mr. Legally Blonde, and Sarah, and Grace, happy birthday. It is so wonderful for you to be in here. I realize there are a million places you could be and a million people you could have chosen to celebrate, but chose to be here with us. The privilege, the pleasure, the honor, the joy is ours. I'm sorry, I'm terrible at this today. Hopefully we can make your day just a little bit better by helping yourself to free pancakes at Denny's, IHOP Village Inn, Waffle House, McDonald's, Tammy Dunlap's house, Andy's Grill, Bob Evans, and Cracker Barrel. There we go. Whew. It was tough getting that in there. You look good. You look great. You look great. Not Waffle House, though. I hope they'll come around. I really do. We all love you. Window fun. Thank you. What I was going to do as soon as court starts, I've got a tarp, and I'm going to slowly open the door because it's just going to crumble and fall. I'm going to open the door until it's widest, like perpendicular to the wall. Spread the tarp underneath, and then just give it that little tap and let all the glass just fall on the tarp. That way, it's not going to be on the ground and everything. But I'm going to have to run and do that this morning because if the cat shows up and claws at the window like it normally does, it's all coming down. So, luckily, there are squirrels in the garden. We spread out birdseed for the squirrels, so he's got something else to chase before he bugs us for food this morning. Happy birthday to those celebrating. Wonderful for you to be here. Thank you very much for letting us celebrate your special day with you. Autobody Gal, this is the first call the police had. Drum solo. Let's do the drum solo. We'll finish this up and then we'll talk for just a minute. Beautiful. Thank you very much. Happy birthday to all who are celebrating.
Happy birthday. You look good.
I haven't gone up and down the road to see if anybody else has had a broken window, but I might do that at some point. Do police wonder why you kept saying lawyer even though you called them? I did ask for an incident number, and they said, you just go to the police station, tell them your name, and they'll look you up, and they'll see everything you've ever done, every time you've ever called us. I'm like, oh, great. Oh, great. I'm thinking of other times that I've called them. I'm like, oh, man. Now I don't want to go get the incident number. But did anyone win the lottery using certain numbers? Special K. What were the winning numbers? Can we check that this morning? Can somebody be a dear and go back and look on the podcast and see if any of Thomas's ChatGPT sourced winning numbers came up on the lottery last night on the draw? Take us with you to the door. It's hard to do when I'm not using StreamYard, and I'm not using StreamYard right now. I'm using my equipment. Katie Bug, member for 12 months. Congratulations on the year mark. Congratulations on the new color courthouse. Been here longer, but haven't been able to be a member every month. Thanks for being the best place to watch trials. RA, appreciate your work. Thank you, Katie Bug. And thank you for the support. What was that? Oh, it was a text. And it said, yes. It was a question about the cat and the squirrels. Yes. I, in fact, feed the squirrels so that Kiki can catch them. I really do. All right, we've missed a couple things this morning. I have to go back through. Give me just 1 second. Teresa, obviously, thank you very much for the super sticker. Hopefully you can chat now and everything's working. Bite Me 62. I don't know my 62's on there, but it is. Rebecca, thank you very much. Buttercup does not have an alibi. Meanie Banana, we all love you. Window Fun, thank you. Kelly H, thank you for the birthday sticker cake, or cake sticker. Special K, did anyone win the lottery? I hope to find out here soon. I hope to find out if somebody can do the research on that. That would be interesting. I bait them. I feed the squirrels. And Kiki catches squirrels and eats them in our yard. Everything but the tail. He does not eat the tail. And so he just leaves the tail for us. But was your door an isolated event? Ours was the first call to the police. So I said, I hope this is just a one-off. But in case there are other calls, that's why I called the police, because it's not going to do me any good. The deductible on my insurance is high enough that were I to file this, they'd look at it and laugh and say, good luck, fix it, because you're never going to hit your deductible. So, Ireland Princess, member for 11 months. Woohoo, 11 months, but here slightly longer than that. Love this community. Thank you, Ireland Princess. Next month, you get a new color courthouse, and it's going to go great with your picture there. It's going to look absolutely wonderful. Never heard of a cat eating a squirrel. Ours has caught and ate 3 of them, or 4 of them now. So that's good. Wait, what? Your door got shot? It did. Somebody shot my door this morning. Not with like a real pew-pew, but probably an air rifle. It wouldn't have been a rock, because the rock would have gone through. And it was a very small, fast impact, but it did not go through the second door. So that's why I leaned to the air rifle side. Teresa, thank you very much for the super sticker as well. And, oh, look at this. Alexis. Oh, hang on. What's going on? Looks like our defendant is in court. We might be starting any minute now. Alexis, thank you for gifting 5 memberships. That is extremely generous of you. And welcome new members. I would be on your roof if I were a squirrel then too. Yeah, the squirrels are in our roof, which is the problem. Drive-by BB gun, most likely pellet gun, BB gun, something like that. My cat, oh, there's the police again. My cat likes to catch the squirrel and dispatch it and then play with it. Like, he's very sad that it's not still engaging in the battle, so to speak. And so he's, tosses it around and kicks it and throws it and catches it again. Did you hear it hit? Yes, we did. Whap, thwap. I don't know what the sound was. It was almost a feel. You could feel it hit, because like our house is just, we heard it. We knew exactly when it happened. And I called it. I'm like, yeah, our house just got shot. I said, that's what I told Mrs. RH. She's like, what was that? Our house just got shot. I like the orange shirt and the candy corn, the background on the podcast. The candy corn background was phenomenal. I still have it. I'm not going to use it today, because that would be entirely inappropriate, but it's there. So we'll play with this. How many sidebars are we up to? Oh, can somebody check that as well? I have cameras. They were not on our porch. This was from a distance, which I do not have.
Happy birthday. You look good.
Hubs was mowing, hit a rock, you hit our window, and that sound is unlike any other. Yeah, we didn't have anyone mowing around us, though. Nor do we have rocks. I'm not kidding. We don't have rocks in this part of North Carolina. You can dig in any yard anywhere, and all you get is sand. We're basically on the beach, but 150 or an hour and a half from the beach. It's just a big sand beach, which is great for metal detecting. Is STEMI safe? I didn't check STEMI. Can you check STEMI? Can you check and see if our big pumpkin is still fine? I didn't see. I think he's still out there. Don't open the door. Just peek. Is it possible it cracked on its own? I would say no, because we have an impact point with spider webs out from it. The officer indicated that was obviously an impact point as well, so I don't think so. If they got STEM guy, I'm going to be so mad. STEMI's okay. STEMI's okay. Put day 3, part 1 on the thumbnail. Day number is missing. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much, Josh. It sure is. I put it there now. Thank you. All right, just waiting for the trial to start today. We're still in the state's case, expecting the medical examiner to be the first witness today, and possibly a slightly lengthy one. Remember, this trial is a murder trial. The defendant is accused of shooting the mother of his children, and she's going to have the medical examiner is going to tell you that they're going to have an entry wound and an exit wound on her head where she was shot. We know a little bit about the position she's been in on the couch when they found her, which was wrapped in a blanket with her feet up, or at least 1 foot up. And we know where there's a defect in the house where the bullet impacted the wall after it went through her. This is going to make or break his story. So we're gonna see what happened. Not that complicated for the ME, I know, but it's very important. The trajectory specifically might completely just eviscerate his story. So, let's see. He is laughing and smiling. He has been quite jovial throughout this trial. Not sure what he's waiting for, possibly counsel. But, sorry about your window, but I'm glad STEMI is okay. STEMI is fine. I should have checked earlier, but we'll figure it out. Yeah, so what's going to happen is once court starts, I'm going to listen on my phone and step away just for a minute and go get the glass out of the door just so nobody gets hurt. And we'll sort of just leave the frame there until we can figure out how to get more replacement glass in. If we even can. The door is so thin. It's like a tiny, tiny door. That's why I'm worried about, I can't just get a replacement for it, because most storm doors are bigger than that. And I'm sure it's a custom size. So, I have cameras. It's just there's I don't film the street. There were cars going by, so I can see there are cars going by, but I couldn't see anything obvious from that. So I have plenty of cameras. Yeah, the kids are cool. They think it's cooler. They want to help with the glass. That's what they want to do. Teresa, thank you very much for gifting a membership. Hellcat, you're back in green. You can get a special size glass cut. That's what I think we're going to have to do, but I'm just worried about the little trim, getting the trim out to set the glass in there. I'm not good with tools, so we'll see. Got to get the street view on those cams. Go on now. I know. Does your town have a glass company? No, but neighboring towns do. All right. Is Teresa able to chat yet? Maybe Megan? Selena, thank you very much for 5. Oh, sorry. AA Granny, thank you very much for 5 gifted memberships. Thank you as well. You guys are super generous this morning. I need a good glass guy. My kids will keep them in business. Somebody did a little pew-pew on the door, my door at 6:30 this morning. So
now I'm trying to have cool.
Hang on.
You don't put a diplomatic plate on a hoopty.
You don't. Yes, we got a little. I posted. If you go on the channel and look at posts, I posted a couple pictures of the door. So it now really does look like a crime scene. It was probably a BB gun. Could have been an airsoft. Most likely a BB or pellet. I haven't checked the others yet. I was the first person to call right when it happened. So
When are we going to break for lunch, Judge?
what our police list calls that were all the calls that came in at the end of the week, so I can go back and look and see if anybody else complained of it. Do you think they were aiming for STEMI and hit the door? It was pretty high. I'd say it was 4 feet above STEMI's height. Let's see. Yes, there's the post if you want to see the door and the glass. Can't see kids doing that at 6:30. Something feels weird. It does a little bit, but of the weird things that have happened at our house lately, so far I can't connect them. I wish you could decoupage. I think spell check got you on this one. What if I were to take clear packing tape and just run tape up and down the whole thing to hold all the glass in place? It would still be transparent, so light would go through, but it looks really run down. Decoupage. Decoupage. Is that where you keep the glass in place? Megan Jones, good morning. 8 months for you. Congratulations. Neighbor has Ring cameras across the street. I'll talk to them because they catch everything, but it's all good. Just keep it for Halloween. It's a clear glue type substance. I'm not sure if I could paint anything on it. It's literally, you stand by it and it's still just like cracking and popping. Even right now, it's still just, all we need is one piece of glass to fall out and the whole thing just goes, poosh. It's going to be Mod Podge. What's the other name for Mod Chat? Okay. Next up, pronouncing Wisconsin cities, which I do phenomenally well. It did. The whole thing just instantly, spray glue. Ooh. Hopefully you have to get a new door. I think there's a don't in there somewhere, but I think that might be the solution is have one custom made for us. I wonder if it's payback for the meat you threw out years ago. No, I know it's not because he gave us all the air rifles he has. He only owns real pew-pews now. So he doesn't have the device to do that. Put the tarp up before you finish breaking it. Yeah, we're gonna tarp it and collect it all. The kids will help. The tarp's ready. I just have to go out once court starts. We'll go out and do it really quickly. Does your insurance cover it? No. My deductible I think is like $2,000 or something, and you can buy a whole new door for that. So, How are the squirrels getting into your attic? It's easy, Laurie. They use the hole the bird made. We've got starlings that will peck a hole through our soffit. And the squirrel jumps up the dogwood tree. It jumps up the pecan tree to the dogwood tree, jumps from the dogwood tree to the volunteer tree that we have to cut down, and it goes from there to the roof, along the roof, up over the railing, jumps up the drain pipe, goes up the drain pipe, and from there leaps over to a hole that the bird's made and gets up there. I've watched him do it. He tried twice this morning, and I persuaded him not to. Starlings are destructive, yes. They're one of the few birds I shoot regularly. See, the funny thing is I shoot my house a lot with my own BB gun, but I'm shooting with the wood backdrop and with a very low power BB, which probably won't even dent the wood. But I never shoot the front of my house. That was what this other person did. Insurance is a scam. The deductible is typically more than just fixing the damage out of pocket. Not all cases, though. Busy, I hear you. When I bought my house,
I don't like podiums.
The amount the insurance quoted me for my home, because it's so old, because it's historic. 115 years old when I bought it. They quoted me that they had to insure the home for like $850,000. Now, let it be no surprise to you, my house is not worth anywhere near that. It's not worth half that. But because of the construction that was used, the type of construction with the Greek key inlaid wood floors and the hand-blown glass windows and all that, to replace it with like material of like quality would be very, very expensive, more than it's worth. And so the only way I could make my insurance affordable is to get them to cut down to the very bare minimum they would on the valuation, which is still way too high, and then also raise my deductible through the roof so that I basically have to fix anything that breaks. Otherwise, my insurance... so now, if there was a fire, I'd be covered. But now with the kitchen incident, I imagine your insurance is really helpful. The kitchen, they did cover half of. That cost $30,000 to redo our kitchen. But we had to go all the way down to the joists underneath. It's because you told them there's buried gold. Greeners, there is that fact as well. But anyway, insurance, don't get me started. Insurance in North Carolina is unlike anything I've ever experienced. It generally is not there for you. Boyfriend has an old house. Same thing happened. Cardboard fixes it all up. It's a back door. Mine is a front door. And I'm, it's sort of in a historic district where we try to make it look nice. So I'm not sure what we're doing with trial just sitting here. What are we waiting for? Has anybody heard? That's all insurance. I know, but I've had other insurance where they literally just like, hey, how can we help? All right, sorry that happened. Well, here's the deductible, here's the valuation, and here you go. Our insurance, you call and they're like, nope, we don't cover those sorts of damages, like hail damage on a roof. We don't cover those. Why? Because we think there might have been other damage. Well, you inspected the house when you took my policy, and you didn't cite any other damage there. Well, it's old enough that we think there's other damage, so we're not going to cover it. That's basically what we get. It's North Carolina insurance is terrible. Then they raise your rates once you have a claim. Yes. All right. It looks like study hall for Mr. Duren. I wondered what he's doing. He's in the middle of something. Northwest, I thought it was frozen. I cut away to the other scene so I could just make sure I was live. But he is, in fact, alive and breathing in this picture. The before and after of your kitchen is astonishing. Oh, it is a huge difference. I just feel a sneeze coming on. Hang on. Itchy withers. I've seen that happen before, but this door, it literally has an impact point with spider webs that come out from it. So all the lines draw to one point. It's hard to capture that in the picture, but once you see it in person, you see, and there's glass that was blown through at that point. So it's very much an impact. He's writing his dissertation. Yeah, I'm never again, I think. I'm never going to buy a house this old again. It's fun. I love it. It's beautiful. I mean, it's been a wonderful home. But there's a lot I didn't know about buying an old house when I bought an old house. Did I get my snickerdoodles? No. I did get really, really delicious chocolate chip cookies, though. Yeah, Virginia, somebody shot out our front storm door. It's blowing a hoolie outside today. I'm not sure what a hoolie is, but I'm guessing that's a lot. Now would be a good time. I think you're right. The money pit. What if a bird flying into a window or door could potentially break the glass? Potentially, yes. It would have shown up on cameras, though. This is the storm door on the outside. So there's the inner door, which is 12 panes of beveled hand-cut glass, individual panes in a grid, and that's the deadbolt and everything else. And then it's got side panels, which are beveled and everything, all fancy. And then it has a sunrise sort of arch stained glass window above it. It's a really fancy door. Beautiful. It's one of the best features on the house. The police shot it out. Did I hear that right? Well, I wasn't going to blame them, but I'm not going to rule them out either. I guess it could be anybody, Virginia. No, the police here are awesome. Someday there will be a sign, R.I. lived here, and there will be tours like Graceland. So go, Judy. That's funny. That's funny. Do we know why there's no court? Yes, they didn't have any witnesses for yesterday. There was a conflict with another case. The ME was testifying in another trial or was out of state or something like that. So it's in the National Register of Historic Places. I think it is. But I don't know. I've never got any paperwork with it being a register. I'm in a historic district, like across the street, right across from my house. There's a sign that says now entering historic district. But I've never been told I have to fix it to a certain standard, or I definitely don't get any special tax write-offs for being a historic home. I don't have to use certain types of construction. It doesn't change anything with my permits. So I think I'm good. Allie B, this is funny because my kids also said, do you think it could have been the squirrels? Maybe a squirrel threw nuts at it because you wouldn't let them in. Seriously, glad your family's safe. Yeah. It was a bad pecan. What does a storm door do if it's that thin? Some people call it a screen door, but there's an outer door, which is generally not locked. It's just like it just shuts. It's like another layer. I don't know. I don't know why we have them. It's sort of weird. But we have the inner door and the outer door. For us, we like to keep the inner door open, especially when the weather's nice outside. And, you know, it's not really letting air in, but it's just a lot of light comes through, and the kids are always, you know, the school's in the front room there, so it's nice and safe. Let's pay back from stealing the sidewalk pecan. Yeah, I can't really move into the Airbnb, though, because we have a guest coming maybe tomorrow. A storm door also protects the wood door from the weather. Okay, it's doing that. Because we have the storm, our main door is like really fancy and old. It's original with the house, like 115, 120. It might be 120 years now. That's crazy. Storm doors have screens in them. This is just full pane glass with a wood frame.
Thank you for your service.
Oh, we need to fix the audio here. Hang on.
I will ask you, simply because there is a media presence with respect to this matter, whether or not in the time since I last asked you the question, if anybody has had any exposure, even if inadvertent, relative to any media coverage, if you could please raise your hand and we will address it. Okay, please let the record reflect that none of the jurors raised their hands. Thank you very much. Appreciate your compliance with my instructions. Okay, Attorney Spicer.
Thank you. The state calls Dr. Mitchell Weinberg.
Here we go. This is the ME. I bet I could get the entire window fixed before the medical examiner finishes their background. I mean, I can get all the glass.
Raise your hand.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear that the testimony you're about to give will be true under the pain and penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you. Please have a seat. Good morning. Could you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name?
It's so quiet.
My name is Mitchell Weinberg. Last name is spelled Weinberg.
Dr. Weinberg, where do you work?
I work at the New Hampshire Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, which is based in Concord.
Is that better?
What is your title there?
I am the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner.
And what are the duties and responsibilities of the Deputy Chief Medical Examiner?
My primary job duties relate to conducting and overseeing medical legal death investigations, including the performance of postmortem examinations such as autopsies.
Before we get to what an autopsy is, Doctor, do you have any education, training, and experience relative to your position as a Deputy Chief Medical Examiner?
Yes, I do. So after attending university and earning a bachelor's degree, I went to medical school, graduating from medical school in 2008. I then completed an anatomic pathology residency at Ohio State University, completing that part of my training in 2011. And then the last stage was a forensic pathology fellowship conducted in Baltimore, Maryland, at the Maryland Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, and completing that in 2012. So at that point, I'd completed all of my schooling and training, and I was ready to enter the workforce as a staff forensic pathologist. And I did so, taking a job in Alberta, Canada in 2012, holding that position until 2020, at which time I relocated to New Hampshire to take this position at the New Hampshire OCME.
Thank you, Doctor. You mentioned forensic pathology. I'll ask you first, what is pathology?
Pathology is an area of medicine focused on the study of human disease. It's a very broad field of medicine. Pathologists are often called the doctor's doctor because generally pathologists do not interact with patients directly, at least not very much. Rather, we provide diagnostic information to other physicians so that they can provide treatment to their patients.
So that is pathology. Could you tell us what forensic pathology is?
Sure. Forensic pathology is a branch of anatomic pathology that is focused on the application of principles of pathology and medicine as they can apply to areas of the law and also to some extent to areas of public health.
Okay. Does forensic pathology or is forensic pathology concerned at all with determining cause of death?
Yes, that's a core function of any forensic pathologist's job. It's overseeing medical legal death investigations, and one of the primary reasons is to determine why an individual has died, i.e. the cause and manner of death.
So when conducting one of these medical legal investigations to determine the cause of death, does that include a review of not just diseases but also trauma or injuries?
Yes.
Dr. Weinberg, what is an autopsy?
An autopsy is a surgical-like medical procedure involving an examination of a deceased individual. It involves an external examination as well as subsequent internal examinations to document the presence or absence of various disease processes as well as the presence or absence of various injuries or traumatic findings.
Dr. Weinberg, what is the general procedure that you follow when you conduct an autopsy?
The general procedure is that a body comes into the autopsy suite. I start with documentation of the body as received into our facility. I then undress the body, clean the body so that I am getting a good look at the cleaned, naked external surfaces of the body for documenting those various findings. Then the procedure continues to an internal examination, which is examination basically from the head down to the pelvis in a standard forensic autopsy. So that, again, to be clear, means opening the chest, abdomen, examining the organs internally, again, for the presence or absence of natural disease processes, the presence of or absence of injuries, and also examining the neck and head contents for those same reasons.
Dr. Weinberg, does your general process for conducting an autopsy include a screening in the way of toxicology?
Yes, not at that same exact moment of time. So during the course of the autopsy on the day of examination, those specimens are collected, and then those specimens are sent to a laboratory that our office contracts with for toxicology testing, and then I usually get the results back 1 to 2 months later.
And what is the purpose of having blood sent out for testing?
It varies from case to case. Sometimes toxicology provides the answer to the cause of death, such as in drug overdose cases. Other times it provides additional information about the circumstances. So, for example, in a motor vehicle incident, it's also just, I guess, to be clear, it's standard procedure in pretty much every office that cases involving trauma, a toxicology screen is performed.
Dr. Weinberg, how do you document the results of an autopsy or the conduct of an autopsy?
There's a few different ways. So one is just with handwritten notes. It's literally nothing more than me writing notes on sheets of paper to document the findings. I also document my findings photographically. So that's a big part of modern forensic pathology practice. Lots of digital photographs of pertinent positive and negative examination findings. And then probably the most formal part is for each case, I produce a typed formal written report of my examination findings. And at the completion of that case, I sign and date that document.
Dr. Weinberg, you mentioned that you take photos. Is it common for police officers or law enforcement officials to also be present when an autopsy is conducted?
It depends on the nature of the case. Actually, probably for the majority of my cases, the answer is no. But in certain kinds of cases that may involve future criminal charges, then yes, it is common for law enforcement to be in attendance, and often he or she will take photographs for themselves as well.
Dr. Weinberg, as part of an autopsy, do you determine something called cause of death?
Yes.
What does it mean to determine the cause of death?
The cause of death is the underlying disease process, injury, or intoxication that accounts for an individual's death, no matter how rapidly or how drawn out the time process involved. So examples of causes of death are medical issues such as various forms of cancer, strokes, various forms of cardiovascular disease, as well as injuries. So things like stab wounds, gunshot wounds, asphyxial injuries such as hanging or strangulation. Those are all various types of cause of death that I can put on a death certificate based on the totality of my examination and investigational findings in a case.
Dr. Weinberg, could you tell us how many autopsies have you conducted in your career?
I can't tell you an exact number because I don't keep that precise a log, but at this point in my career, about 14 years post-fellowship, it has to be just to either side of 3,000 at this point.
Dr. Weinberg, of those roughly 3,000 autopsies that you have conducted, how many involved gunshot wounds?
Hundreds.
Dr. Weinberg, have you been qualified in court as an expert in forensic pathology on previous occasions?
Yes.
Could you tell us about how many times?
Probably approaching 100 at this point, in the various jurisdictions in which I've worked and testified.
Does that include being qualified as an expert in forensic pathology in the state of New Hampshire?
Yes, multiple times at this point, yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to qualify Dr. Weinberg as an expert in forensic pathology.
No objection. He shall be so recognized.
Dr. Weinberg, did you conduct an autopsy on the body of Caitlin Nafziger on March 1st of 2024?
Yes.
Where was this autopsy performed?
At Concord Hospital in Concord, New Hampshire.
As part of that autopsy, did you determine Ms. Nafziger's height and weight?
I did.
What were those?
If I may at this point, may I refer to my case file, which has a copy of the autopsy report?
Yes, please refer to your report for purposes of refreshing your memory.
Sure. So Ms. Nafziger was 60 inches or 5 feet tall and 114 pounds.
Dr. Weinberg, I'll ask you to just close your notes.
Sure.
Dr. Weinberg, you talked about the number of ways that you document an autopsy, including photographs and then a report. Did you do those things with regard to Ms. Nafziger's autopsy?
Yes.
All right, I'm back.
Did
Glass
you
has
conduct
been
an
knocked out of the
external
window.
examination of Ms. Nafziger's body?
Yes.
What, if anything, did you find?
Well, along with just the routine things that I document in every case, things like hair color, eye color, scars, tattoos, presence or absence thereof, things like that. The most significant thing is there were two very obvious defects to the head, which I quickly was able to recognize as gunshot wound injury.
You mentioned that there were two defects that you described as a gunshot injury. Could you describe, did you assign any sort of classification to those injuries?
Yes. During the course of the examination, ultimately I was able to determine that one of the defects represented an entry wound and the other defect represented an exit wound. Therefore, I was able to determine that there was a single gunshot wound to the head with both entry and exit wounds present.
So I'd like to ask you about that. What is an entry wound?
An entry wound is the term that a forensic pathologist will use for the defect, the injury, the hole, where the bullet enters an individual's body.
And following that, what is an exit wound?
So same sort of thing, except now we're talking about from where the bullet exits the body. Every gunshot wound has to have some sort of entry. Not every gunshot wound has an exit. Some gunshot wounds have a retained projectile, but that was not so in this case.
How are you able to determine the difference between an entry wound and an exit wound?
Largely, it is a product of my training and experience at this point. Simply put, they look different, and it is my training and experience that allows me to make that distinction. Most of the time, it's pretty straightforward for an experienced forensic pathologist to differentiate an entry wound from an exit wound. They look different. They have different characteristics, different features, and that's just externally. There are also internal features that can help with that distinction when necessary, everything in this case did align with the ultimate way I classified, as one side being the entry wound and the other side being the exit wound.
Dr. Weinberg,
got glass shards all over me. I just noticed.
And classified them collectively as a gunshot wound. Is that fair to say?
Yes, that's correct.
So, is it your opinion that that entry wound and that exit wound were caused by the same bullet?
Yes.
Could you tell us where those wounds were?
Yes, and again, I just want to refer to my notes because I don't want to switch the laterality.
Sure.
Excuse me, not my notes. I'm actually looking at the formal autopsy report. So in Miss Nafziger's case, the entry wound is on the left side of the head, on the temporal scalp, which basically means the portion of the head above the ear. So approximately in that general region where I'm pointing on myself, just for demonstrative purposes to the jury, but for the written record, I'm pointing slightly above my left ear. That was the entry wound in this case.
Where was the exit wound?
The exit wound was basically just on the opposite side, so on the right side, also a little bit above the right ear.
Dr. Weinberg, were you able to determine the bullet's course of travel through Miss Nafziger's head?
Yes.
What was it?
The bullet passed through the skull and then basically passed through the brain. The report documents the specific anatomic structures in the brain, which I can get into if necessary, but essentially the bullet passed right through Miss Nafziger's brain.
After passing through her brain, did it then exit through her skull again?
Yes, so passed through the left side of the skull, through the brain, and then through the right side of the skull, and then exited the body through the skin.
Did you recover a retained projectile from anywhere inside Miss Nafziger's body?
No, I did not in this case.
Dr. Weinberg, you told us about the path that bullet traveled, in your expert opinion. Did you observe any internal injuries to Miss Nafziger associated with that bullet?
Well, yes, the injuries to the skull, the dura mater, which is the covering around the brain, and the brain were all injured by the gunshot wound in this case. They were injured by the bullet.
And could you describe just what was your diagnosis of those injuries for the record?
You mean
what were the injuries?
Go specifically through the parts of the brain? Sure. I'm again going to refer to my report here, but the bullet passes through the left temporal cerebrum, cerebral white matter, and deep nuclei, such as the basal ganglia and the thalamus, the right frontotemporal cerebrum, and the right, and then out through the skull. So, again, those are just specific anatomic regions of the cerebrum, which is kind of the main portion of the brain that people think about when you think of a picture of the brain.
Did you observe anything along the lines of hemorrhaging or contusions to parts of Ms. Nafziger's brain?
Yes, there was bleeding, which is absolutely expected, associated with any sort of traumatic injury in a living person, including a gunshot wound. There were also areas of associated bruising on the surface of the brain. These are all, just to be clear, injuries that are directly associated, and findings, I should say, associated with the gunshot wound.
Dr. Weinberg, were the injuries to Ms. Nafziger's brain from that gunshot wound?
Just lost audio. Hold, please. Let's see if we can get this back.
Surface. And
there we go.
There's basically three classifications or three groupings that I make when I assess range of fire in a gunshot wound case.
Ooh, another approach, another sidebar. Does anyone know what the number is of sidebars we were on? Let's see if I can find it. The defense objecting to his classification of the gunshot, the type of shooting that occurred. Quite telling. This is point blank contact. Let's see. My keyboard is done typing for some reason. No, it's because I'm on the wrong computer. That's why. I'm showing 33 was our counter. Does that sound right? Stapling will tell on you every time. It sure does. It's amazing what we've learned about firearms. Okay, let's see. Counter, there's 33, a little smaller maybe. A little smaller even. So we're trying to get the sidebar counter working correctly. The other counter was for bottoms up. Let's see. 33 was bottoms up. We were at 27. Thank you. If we were at 27, this should be at 28 now with the counter. Let me get this situated right. I have to move it around. Red pen gives up. I'm sorry. 27 with this one. Okay. 27 is the number. Got it.
Dr. Weinberg, I believe the question posed to you was, what is range of fire?
Sure. So I think I was at a point where I was explaining that as a forensic pathologist, we classify range of fire into one of three categories. And it, again, relates to the distance between the tip of the weapon and the skin surface at the time of discharge. So the first category is contact, which basically means the gun is up against the skin at the time of discharge. The second grouping is intermediate range of fire, which basically means from a few inches away up to about 3 feet. That's the intermediate range of fire. And then beyond that is a distant range of fire, or indeterminate, or, as the phrasing I use, no evidence of close range firing. So intermediate and contact are considered close range firing. That is, the tip of the weapon is less than about 3 feet from the tip of the skin.
He shrugged his shoulders. What did I do now? What did I do now? Okay, sorry. This is sort of funny. He's still shaking his head. Little sip. This takes us up to 28. Sorry, I'm still having trouble placing this exactly where it needs to go. A little bit of an eye roll as well. His reaction was pretty good. He's like, I'm gonna be able to say this. I know I've testified enough. I know that what I can say is allowed in court. So let's see. He shouldn't be reacting. No, he shouldn't. He has a lot of tude. He's got a fair amount of tude going on. Okay, I need to roll this over to the left and then trim it down just a tiny bit. Right about there. All right, still labeled the bottoms up counter. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did that wrong. What are we counting? Not verdict watch. Objection counter. There we go. Got it. It's been a morning and a half. It started too early. Alexis, thank you very much. Glass replacement fund. Thank you. The glass, I'm surprised. The window, just the parts we broke out, like almost all the glass is knocked out of the door now, and it's wrapped up in a big tarp. I'd say it weighs at least 20 pounds. Some pretty heavy glass. We're counting sidebars. It's not quite straight yet. It needs to be centered. This courtroom seems to be outfitted with Asus monitors everywhere. Like they have a contract with Asus. It's a good brand of monitor. I've had one myself. I'm a bit distracted. I apologize. Focused on the glass and the door. If the storm door doesn't have a point, why replace it? Well, I think it does protect the wooden 120-year-old door just inside. We do live in a hurricane area, so we have wind-driven rain. It's very common to have it rain sideways here at like 80 miles an hour. So protecting that wood door from direct contact with the wood is probably worth it, because I know the lock on the door to replace it would be about $800. Whoever put that one in, it's amazing, but I don't want the lock damaged, and I obviously don't want the wood damaged either. It's sidebar counter. It was sidebar, not objection. Seen cursive counter. That was a good one. Okay. That's bottoms up. That's not it. Sorry, I'm looking for the file, so we don't have to recreate the whole thing. I think it was this one. There we go. Found it. Why do they use the little Dixie bathroom cups? I do not know, unless maybe it was a budgetary decision. This man is tired. He's been out of state. He traveled to get here. He's testified in another court, or just has testified in another court. He's obviously a busy man. Plus, apparently he's done a few of these. He knows what he's doing. Winter Sky, member for 7 months. I've been here since at least January 24, but I just wanted to thank you for all you do and don't do. Winter Sky, thank you for adding this part on the end, what I do and don't do. I appreciate that. Welcome. It's good to have you here. Thank you for your support. Been here much longer than the 7 months denotes, but yeah, no one was injured. That's the thing. My collection of mismatched monitors would drive me mad. Drive some mad. A cheap Acer, a really nice Dell, and a $10 Liama I got from work. Wanted to replace it. So I have Apple Insignia and Vizio, and another Apple.
Dr. Weinberg, I'm going to ask you again to define those three categories of fire.
Okay. So the first category of range of fire is contact, which means the tip of the weapon is basically up against the skin surface up to maybe a couple of inches away. Intermediate range of fire means that the gun tip is a little bit further back. Usually it's defined as somewhere between 6 and 36 inches away from the skin surface. That's the intermediate range of fire. And again, in combination, contact and intermediate are lumped as close range firing. If you don't see any of the markers of either contact or intermediate range of firing, the gunshot wound is defined as an indeterminate range of fire or distant range of fire, or the phrasing I use in my reports, no evidence of close range firing. And again, that generally means that the tip of the weapon is at least 3 feet away or more.
So Dr. Weinberg, when you determine that something is in that last category as not close range or indeterminate, you can't tell if something is 37 inches or 37 feet, can you?
That's correct.
You mentioned markers that you use to determine whether a gunshot wound falls into one of these 3 categories. What are those markers?
Those markers are the presence of soot around a wound, as well as imprints from the muzzle or other parts of the gun, such as a sight or a firing pin. Those are things that are generally seen in the contact range of fire. Intermediate range of fire is classically defined with the presence of something called gunpowder stippling, which are basically these tiny little pinpoint marks around a gunshot wound from gunpowder particles striking the skin. But once you get beyond about 3 feet or 36 inches, those markers generally are not going to be present, and therefore, as I said, you have no evidence of close range firing, and you can opine that the gun is 3 feet or more away from the skin surface at the time of discharge.
Cindy, thank you very much.
Dr. Weinberg, with regard to Ms. Nafziger, did you observe any of those marks that you described as evidence of close or intermediate range firing?
No, no such markers were present in this case.
So in your opinion, were the wounds that you observed on Ms. Nafziger in that third category of indeterminate or distant fire?
Yes, in my opinion, the entry gunshot wound in this case shows no evidence of close range firing.
And again, that means 3 feet or more.
Correct.
Dr. Weinberg, I'm showing you a series of 4 images marked for identification at stage 21A through D. Could you please take a look at those?
Sure.
Dr. Weinberg, what are these?
These are a small sampling of the autopsy photographs that I took during Ms. Nafziger's examination. More specifically, there are 2 photographs each of the entry and exit wounds at various magnifications or at various stages of the examination process.
Dr. Weinberg, do these photos, states 21A through D, fairly and accurately represent the state of Ms. Nafziger's wounds at the time you conducted your autopsy on March 1st, 2024?
Generally, yes. There has been some alteration, and specifically what I mean is these wounds were in parts of the head where there is hair. So it's very standard in my line of work to document those wounds both as is, i.e. with the hair there, with the hair still present, and to clean and shave the skin around the entry wounds and exit wounds when there is hair present. So the clearing of the hair around the wounds that you'll see in some of these photographs, I did that as part of the examination. That's what I mean by manipulation, but otherwise, yes.
So just to be clear, Dr. Weinberg, these photos show a fair and accurate representation of Ms. Nafziger's wounds during the autopsy you conducted, And that includes both before and after you made those alterations you described by shaving or cleaning up some of those areas.
Yes, that's correct.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to strike the ID on states 21A through D.
No objection.
The ID may be stricken with respect to 21A through D inclusive, and they shall be considered as full exhibits.
Dr. Weinberg, you can see up on the screen, and you have one there.
Kim, thank you so much, Kim R.
Exhibit 21A.
Let's get a nice, new, pretty, unbreakable storm door.
Yes, this is a medium magnification view showing the left side of Miss Nafziger's head, and this wound specifically, this picture specifically is showing the presence of the entry gunshot wound after I have cleaned it up and cleared away some of the surrounding hair.
And again, Dr. Weinberg, that cleaning up, it was so that you could better examine this wound?
Exactly. This is just very standard forensic pathology practice throughout North America. You examine the wound as is, but you also clean it up for this exact reason. Sometimes there are features that are better seen, and I don't think I need to get into it more, but that's why.
I'm now showing you states exhibit 21B. What is this?
This is essentially very similar to the previous photograph, except at a higher magnification. Again, it's very common to take photographs at multiple levels of magnification, just to show different features. This is a higher magnification view of the entry gunshot wound.
Now this wound appears to be, for lack of a better term, fairly clean. There don't seem to be a lot of sharp edges. Is that a hallmark of an entry wound?
This is a very classic appearance of an entry gunshot wound. Yes, it is. It's fairly rounded in nature. It is somewhat punched out because the skin does actually get physically punched out as the bullet passes through. This is a textbook entry gunshot wound that I would use for teaching purposes.
Now showing states exhibit 21C. What is this, Dr. Weinberg?
So this photograph is showing now the right side of Ms. Nafziger's head. There's been a little bit of cleaning at this point in the photograph, but there is the hair obviously hasn't been removed yet. Above and in front of the right ear, there is the defect that I've previously spoken about, and this is a photograph of the exit gunshot wound in this case.
Just one more. Dr. Weinberg, what are we looking at here?
Now, so same perspective as the previous photograph, but a little bit higher magnification, and also now there has been cleaning of the wound and removing of the hair to facilitate better documentation. Here you can see the features of the exit gunshot wound, much more jagged, ragged, not that clean circular or ovoid type appearance of an entry gunshot wound. There's also a little fragment in the wound that I believe is a bony fragment from the skull having been injured. So that's what we're looking at in this photograph.
Thank you. Dr. Weinberg, other than the gunshot wounds that you've described, did you observe any other injuries to Ms. Nafziger during your external or internal examinations?
No.
Okay. Any other injuries or trauma in other parts of the body?
No.
Any evidence of significant natural disease?
No.
Any significant findings from the results of Ms. Nafziger's toxicology screening?
No.
So, Dr. Weinberg, in your opinion, what was the cause of death for Ms. Nafziger?
In my opinion, Ms. Nafziger's cause of death was a gunshot wound of the head.
And it's the gunshot wound that we've been discussing and that you just described for us using pictures?
Correct.
Thank you. I have no more questions.
Okay, thanks.
Did he not? Did he already say manner of death was homicide? Or did they skip that part? Got another approach. We're up to 29 now. I didn't hear homicide. We didn't hear the whole discussion about the different types of death, the classifications. About
a brief recess right now. We'll be back at 10:15. We'll get restarted at 10:15. Again, I instruct you not to discuss the case amongst yourselves, and if anyone does so, please indicate so to the court security officer or bailiff. Thank you. We'll be back at 10:15.
This is like, can I go? Do I have to stick around? I only heard cause, not manner. Yeah. It's implied, but I wonder if it might be better. I'm pretty sure pretty much every ME does that ruling. That's one of the key rulings that they make. The key findings they make in an investigation is whether or not it was, self-inflicted, homicide, accidental, unknown, natural. We want to know. I don't think that's what we were talking about right then. Need to put an air tag inside STEMI. I think we'll feature STEMI prominently on the table, so he could be seen on the live stream periodically. Some states won't let manner come to testimony. That's interesting, Woody. It's obviously we have no other reason why Caitlin would be deceased other than this injury. Her toxicology comes back clean. She has no injuries, like there's no signs of a struggle, like no bruising on the hands or the arms or anything like that. If they were fighting over the child, you'd think there might be some of that, but nothing. Magistrange, apparently we think somebody probably used an air gun, like a BB gun or a airsoft or pellet rifle or something like that. Our door got popped this morning at 6:30 in the morning, really early. But nothing entered the home, so it's all good. Kim, holy cow. Huge super chat. Let's get a nice new pretty unbreakable storm door. I think I'm just going to replace the glass in it. I asked my wife, I said, do you want me to get plexiglass or something? But she doesn't. I guess it doesn't look the same. Nobody was on the front porch. It was from a distance, so we did not capture it on cameras. Testimony that it was a homicide is an ultimate question. Some states don't allow those kinds of opinions in criminal civil cases. It's for the jury to determine if it was a homicide. We are right now in New Hampshire. Haven't had a ton of cases in New Hampshire, but a few. Check and see on New Hampshire's rules. Yes, New Hampshire allows qualified medical examiners to testify in court regarding the manner of death. So it appears to be allowed in New Hampshire. The whole purpose of the investigation is to determine how somebody died. So looking at the New Hampshire Department of Justice website for this Office of Chief Medical Examiner. Interesting. Plexiglass gets milky looking over time and scratches easily. I agree. Home run from school. I'm going to be on catch up. Home from school run. Sorry. Mix that up. Don't have time for that, that medical examiner's attitude. Oh, man. Oh, bottoms up. I'm so sorry, Scotch Mom. Oh. Tammy Daybell's death certificate still says natural. Was she asleep when he shot her? It appears like she was resting or in a state of repose to some degree. Wrapped in a blanket, feet up on the coffee table, sitting on the couch, on the end of the couch. Or laying back. Could you please see my last message? Yes. Denisha, or the one before that. Oh, chat, a quick question for you. Can anyone remember when we saw AWOL breakdancing to the Verdict music? We'd like to submit it to the Best of 2025 form. When? I might still have that on WeTransfer. Transfers. Received. Not seeing it. Not sure how he sent it to me. Did they say where the bullet was found? Ali B, the medical examiner did not say where the bullet was found, but we have heard from the crime scene investigator that there was a defect located in the wall, and I think they were able to. Oh, my UV blood is about to arrive. They were able to like recover the bullet from the defect in the wall. Yeah, I've got it. Here we go. I'm going to forward this to Amber. There we go. All right. Wait, what trial is this? LOL. I thought this was the one where he shot her while holding the kid. The mom was asleep then. KPE Media Productions. The story is not completely fleshed out. We know that there was an argument over the child and that he did shoot her and the child was in the immediate vicinity. He says he had the child in his arms when he shot her. I'm not sure if the state's going to dispute that. But the child was most likely within 3 feet of the gun when it went off and complained about ear pain immediately afterward. Let's see. Tonic water, soda. Really? Tonic water, soda. Is it green? Is it red? Blue? What color does it fluoresce? They didn't have any witnesses yesterday, so we had a break. This ME was in another state and couldn't be here in time. Really think she was sleeping. This trajectory with where we know the path through her head, but when we find out where the defect was in the wall, the angle that puts everything at might put her body in place for the incident. So that would be quite telling there. Tonic water is UV blue. Oh, wow. Is tonic water bubbly? Having never had it. Somebody tell me. Or is it something you can drink, or is it like a medicine, or what? A bluish tone. Michael V., welcome to the gallery. New York, Las Vegas. Love the shirt. You're one of us now. You can never leave. No, you have it in your gin, but it's great. Well, because I don't drink gin, that's probably why I don't have tonic water. It's gin and tonic. It's bitter and bubbly. Yes, bubbly like
yes, sir.
Club soda. Get a yes, sir, from the judge.
Good morning, ma'am.
Just a few questions.
Sure.
So you made a specific finding that there was no evidence of close range firing, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And this means that you did not see the markers often associated with close range firing, correct?
Correct.
But you cannot say with 100% certainty that the gun was not fired within 3 feet.
No, I suppose not, particularly considering that there was hair overlying the entry wound. But again, I see no such markers around the entry wound in this case.
But you can't say 100% that it wasn't within 3 feet.
There are very few things as a forensic pathologist that I can say with 100% certainty. It is not my opinion that the range of fire is less than 3 feet in this case.
Well, you cannot tell this jury the exact distance the gun was when it was fired, correct?
No, I certainly can't. As I said on direct, once you kind of pass that 3-foot barrier and there are no visible signs of close range firing, there's nothing I can do to distinguish whether the range of fire is, say, 40 inches or 50 inches or 80 inches, etc.
And you weren't there, right?
Where?
At the apartment when the shooting happened, correct?
No, of course not.
No. And so you didn't see what happened, right?
No, of course not.
And you didn't see where the gun was when it was fired, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And you didn't see what Caitlin was doing, correct?
Correct.
You didn't hear what she was saying, correct?
Correct.
You don't know where Dustin was when he fired it, correct?
Correct.
And you don't know if it was fired in self-defense, right?
That is not my role to assess.
Or in defense of others.
Basis.
Can we approach?
Sure.
A couple objections lead to an approach. We don't know what the basis of the objection is here, but clearly I think it's important to the defense that that they have some room there, some wiggle room, to say that it could have been up close.
And Dr. Weinberg, you do not know if it was fired in defense of others either.
I have no opinion on that matter. My role is to examine Ms. Snafziger, determine her cause and manner of death, assess injuries. It is never my role to assess that kind of thing, justifiability, self-defense, any of those questions. That is not my role as the medical examiner or as a forensic pathologist. So I have no opinion on that matter.
Your Honor, if I could just have 1 moment. No further questions, thank you.
Direct, briefly, Your Honor. Dr. Weinberg, are you familiar with the term manner of death?
Yes.
What is that?
Manner of death is a classification that I must do in my role as a medical examiner for the state of New Hampshire.
Objection, please approach.
This objection is outside of scope, and this is a big mistake by the prosecution. They never asked anything about manner of death. Defense, I think, caught on to this, had a little break, discussed it, very, very carefully crafted their questions to not include this. The redirect, I think the judge should limit them to the scope of the questions that were asked. He mentioned manner of death and cross, right? I don't think they did. I think this is a big win, or a small win for the defense here. He mentioned in one of his answers, defense brought it up. I didn't hear it. The lawyer didn't ask it, but he mentioned it in his answer. Across the ME said he did determine cause and manner of death. Can we hear this?
Manner of death is part of my statutory role as a medical examiner for every single case that I am involved in. So we talked about cause of death before, right? That's the injury, the medical issue, the substance toxicity that accounts for a patient's death. Manner of death is a classification relating to the circumstances around a death. Whereas cause of death is free text, I can say or write whatever I want. Manner of death is, think of it like it's a drop-down menu. I only have 5 choices for how I classify manner of death in a case. Those options are natural, suicide, accident, homicide, or undetermined. And that is, again, it's a classification relating primarily to the circumstances of how an injury occurred for deaths that are non-natural.
Now, Dr. Weinberg, you mentioned natural, accident, homicide, suicide. Those are not legal determinations that should carry any weight with the jury, are they?
No, as far as I'm concerned, they are part of my role as a medical examiner, and they are not statements of, they're not legal determinations.
In your opinion, what was Caitlin Nafziger's manner of death?
I classified the manner of death in this case as homicide.
Thank you. Oh, pardon me. No more questions.
Okay, recross.
Dr. Weinberg, homicide is a classification on how the injury occurred. That's what you just told us?
Generally, yes.
Okay. It's not an opinion on whether a crime occurred, though, correct?
That is most definitely correct. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Nothing further.
Okay. Dr. Weinberg, be excused?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Your Honor, at this time, the state will call Sergeant Michael McLaughlin.
Sergeant Michael McLaughlin. You hear the train in the background? He is a New Hampshire State Police Sergeant.
Sergeant McLaughlin, if you can remain standing there, please raise your right hand. Do you swear that the testimony that you are about to give is the whole truth under penalties of perjury?
I do.
Can you lower your right hand and be seated? Sergeant McLaughlin, I'm going to ask, if you haven't already done so, if you can pull that microphone a little bit closer to you. Thanks
How's
so
that?
much. Sir, what is your current employment?
I'm employed. I'm a detective sergeant with New Hampshire State Police assigned to Troop C.
And how long have you been working with the New Hampshire State Police?
15 years.
How long have you been assigned to Troop C?
15 years.
Did you have law enforcement experience prior to joining the New Hampshire State Police?
I served in the military as a military policeman for 14 years.
As a sergeant with the New Hampshire State Police, what does that mean your responsibilities are?
So detective sergeant with the state police, I have 2 detectives assigned to me, so 3 of us total. We're assigned to Cheshire and Sullivan counties, responsible for the more serious crimes, burglaries, thefts, sex assaults, all the way up to and including homicide, assisting major crime.
When you say assisting major crime, what do you mean by major crime?
So major crime is basically what most agencies would call a homicide unit or homicide investigative unit.
And as part of your responsibilities as a detective sergeant with Troop C, or as a detective in general with Troop C, you assist the major crime unit if they need help with those kinds of investigations?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you have any kinds of training or experience that you utilize during your job with regard to conducting investigations?
Yes.
What kinds of training do you have?
So I have basic investigative trainings. I do have training in homicide specifically. On a death investigation specifically, I do have training in interview and interrogation. There's a lot more training and experience.
Well, let me ask you about that. You said that you had trainings with respect to interviews and interrogation. Are those 2 things interchangeable, or can you explain to us what the difference is between the 2?
Sure. And this is more my definition based on my experience. But interview, I would say the person that is being interviewed would do the majority of the talking. Interrogation, on the other hand, would be the investigator would be doing most of the talking. Interrogation is more direct questions as opposed to an interview that would be open-ended questions, and the suspect would be given the opportunity to, or the interviewee would be given the opportunity to answer those questions.
Do you conduct interviews of suspects or interrogations?
Generally, or mostly interviews. Occasionally it does turn into an interrogation.
Did there come a time when you became involved with an investigation that was being conducted by the Major Crime Unit into a homicide that occurred on February the 29th of 2024 in Berlin, New Hampshire?
Yes.
And I guess let me back up. Troop C, what areas of New Hampshire does that cover?
So it's Cheshire County and Sullivan County. So the southwest section of New Hampshire.
Where are the barracks for Troop C located?
Keene, New Hampshire.
Where in Keene?
15 Ashbrook Court, which is right off of Route 9.
How far from, let's say, the Applebee's in Keene is your troop barracks?
It's one intersection away. It's less than a mile.
What was your role in the investigation that you became a part of, the one that happened in Berlin?
So initially I was the closest detective to a traffic stop that was ongoing. And then eventually I was assigned to conduct an interview with Mr. Duren.
Now, can you explain how it is that you actually did become involved? You said you were the closest detective. How did you become aware of this traffic stop that was occurring?
So before that, I was aware of the death investigation for 2 different ways. So I received text messages for all death investigations in the state. So I was aware that there was a death investigation in Berlin in the early morning hours. I also received an Amber Alert, which added to that, when I signed on for duty that morning, it was 7:30 that morning, I signed on for duty. State Police has a computer dispatch program, and I'm able to see what's going on in the entire state. I did look to see what was going on in the Berlin case. But I was at the barracks. We monitor Keene Police Department's radio as well as Cheshire County's radio at the barracks. There was some commotion. It's in another room, so I didn't totally hear what the transmissions were. But at some point, my lieutenant popped his head into my office and said that the vehicle from the Amber Alert is at the Applebee's in Keene.
Once you heard that, what did you do?
My first reaction is, no, it's not. But after a few minutes, I decided it would probably be best, again, being the closest detective, to head over there and verify that, because I knew my phone would be ringing eventually with questions. So I drove to the Applebee's and ultimately verified that it was the correct vehicle.
Okay. And when you arrived at the Applebee's, what did you see? What was happening?
So there was a Keene police cruiser. I recognized the white Subaru from the Amber Alert, so I noticed that was parked. The Keene cruiser was not far behind it. There were several other Keene cruisers, a lot of officers and state troopers at that point, and some other people in the area. What I did was I spoke to the Keene officers, and my lieutenant was at the scene, determined that Mr. Duren was in the back of one of the cruisers, and just briefly introduced myself, expecting to have a further conversation with him later on that day.
Okay. When you say you introduced yourself, you approached Mr. Duren, and you indicated, did you introduce yourself, say who you were?
I did.
Okay. And did you ask him any questions at that point?
Basically, like, is he okay? Is there anything I can get him? Is he comfortable? And just said that he would most likely be coming to the Troop C barracks in Keene, and that we would have a lengthy conversation once he got there. What I do recall is the heat, and I felt it myself, but the heat inside the Keene cruiser was on very high, and Mr. Duren asked if I could have the Keene officer adjust that, which they did.
Now, you have looked several times towards a location in the courtroom when you say the name Mr. Duren or Duren. Do you see Mr. Duren, the person that you introduced yourself to that day here in this courtroom?
I do.
Could you, by pointing him out and or identifying him by an article of clothing that he's currently wearing, please let us know where he is?
Sure. He's seated right here almost directly in front of me, wearing a gray suit. We'll call it a purple shirt and a paisley purple tie.
Your Honor, identifying the defendant for the record.
The record shall so reflect.
Now, when you see the defendant here today in court, does he appear to you to be does he look the same as he did when you first met him?
He's got a haircut. His beard is a little shorter, but he does look the same.
Showing you what is marked for identification purposes is State's Exhibit 18 for this case. Can you take a look at that and let me know if you recognize it?
I do.
What is it?
It's a photograph of Mr. Duren.
Okay, and does that photograph clearly and accurately show Mr. Duren at the time that you met him on March the 1st of 2024?
Yes.
So at this time, the state moves to strike the identification and admit State's Exhibit 18 as full.
No objection.
The ID shall be stricken and Exhibit 18 shall be considered a full exhibit.
Permission to publish, Your Honor?
Certainly.
You're replacing, let me plug in first.
All right, I was quite productive there. I just got all 4 hellos that we need cut down. In a minute, I'll get them built. It's not ready yet. Not ready yet.
Currently publishing State's Exhibit 18 on the screen. That's how Mr. Duren appeared when you first encountered him?
Yes. Yes.
Now, you've described to us your first interaction with the defendant, how you introduced yourself to him and asked to get the heat turned down for him. Why is it that you went out to the scene and introduced yourself to him?
I would describe it as building rapport. Again, just making sure he was comfortable, and when we did get a chance to sit down and talk, I did essentially the same thing, but just make sure he's comfortable. If he needed to eat, we would get him some food. If he wanted something to drink, we would get him something to drink.
At the time that you met him at the Applebee's parking lot when he was in that cruiser, did you ask if he wanted any food?
I believe so.
Okay. Did at that time he ask for any?
For food, no.
Okay. How about for anything else?
I believe I told him that I make a good, strong cup of coffee, and we had a discussion about that, and eventually he did accept a cup of coffee.
Did you later make arrangements for him to be interviewed at Troop C?
Yes.
Can you describe for us the location inside of Troop C where that interview occurred?
So there's several entrances to Troop C, which had been renovated not long before this incident. There, to the far left of the building, there is a garage door, and just to the right of that is an entrance. Just inside that entrance to the right is an interview room.
When you say an interview room, can you describe for us sort of how large that is? What's in there?
So it's probably a 9 by 8 size room. It just has a round table with 3 chairs in one corner. In the opposite corner, it has a desk with an office chair and then a separate chair.
When you sat down to interview the defendant, Mr. Duren, who else was present, if anyone?
So Detective Horton, who works with me, eventually was present in the room as well.
This interview that you conducted of the defendant, Mr. Duren, was that audio and video recorded?
Yes.
Can you describe the manner in which that occurred?
Sure. So again, the barracks is newly renovated. We do not have an ideal recording system. So in this particular case, an audio recorder, just a handheld audio recorder, was placed in the room, and then I used my state-issued cell phone to video record the interview.
Was the defendant, or did the defendant consent to this interview being recorded?
He did.
Now, with respect to the interview itself, did you have any interruptions with respect to the recording?
One interruption was it's recording on my state cell or my cell phone. Not long into the interview, the cancellation of the Amber Alert, which is that loud, annoying sound that the cancellation of that came through the phone, which turned off the video recording.
Okay. So there may be a snag or a delay when the video is playing. Is
Yes.
that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay. Now, have you reviewed the video and audio recording of this interview that you conducted with the defendant in preparation for your testimony today?
Yes,
Did you also review a copy of the transcript of that recording?
I did.
Okay, hello is working now. It's functioning properly. I hear a train again.
Showing you what's marked now for identification purposes only as State's Exhibit 27. Can you just take a quick look through that and let me know if you recognize it?
I do.
Okay, what is that?
This is a transcript of the audio recording.
Now, with respect to the transcript and the audio recording, did you review those together in order to determine if they were fully accurate?
I did.
Okay, and can you tell us if there are any errors in the transcription?
There are some.
How would you classify those errors?
So there are occasions where I'm speaking, but the text is attributed to Detective Horton. There are also some other where the audio might not be totally perfect. For example, I say the word Keene, referring to Keene Police or the city of Keene, and the transcription says Keith. There's one other that I can think of where we had a conversation about racking around in a pistol, and it says whacking instead of racking.
Okay, so like some word changes, but the video and audio is accurate to what was said. Is
Yes.
that fair to say? Okay. Now, after you were in the room and you had, and I'm going to come grab that for you while I ask you the question, but after you were in the room and you had your cell phone set up and the recording was going, did you talk to the defendant about his Miranda rights?
I did.
And can you explain for us what Miranda rights are?
So it's his rights to his right to speak to an attorney, his right to answer questions, his right to not answer questions, and just that he could stop answering questions at any time.
Fair to say that advisement we probably all heard on TV and Law and Order and all those other shows that just are everywhere?
Yes.
Okay. Now, when you conducted that procedure here, is it fair to say that you utilized a form?
I did.
Is that customary?
Yes. Doesn't have to be a form, but that's what I use.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I'm showing you what I've marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 25. Do you recognize that form?
I do.
What is it?
This is it's a State Police DSSP 105, New Hampshire State Police DSSP 105 form, which is a Miranda rights form.
Now, when you say DSSP 105, does every form within State Police sort of have a number assigned to it?
It does.
And that's where the DSSP 105 is?
Yes.
Okay. But this is a form that you utilize to go over Miranda?
Yes.
In this particular form, do you recognize it in terms of being the Miranda form or waiver form that you went over with this defendant, Mr. Duren?
I do.
I had the volume way too high on that one.
And is that a fair and accurate copy of the form as you completed it with Mr. Duren?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state moves to strike the identification on States 25 and admit it into evidence as full. No objection.
The ID may be stricken with respect to Exhibit 25, and it shall be considered a full exhibit.
Can you describe the process, and if you need the form back, let me know, but can you describe the process by which you provided Miranda to the defendant?
So I read each line. You know, for example, line 1 is you have the right to remain silent. Typically, I'll ask, in this case, I asked Mr. Duren, do you understand that right? He would say yes. I put a little check mark next to that, line 1. I would read line 2 and same thing. Then I do add a little bit where I explain if you start answering questions and you decide for any reason you don't like a question or you don't want to answer a question, we can skip a question and move on, which he said he understood. And then I asked him to, so I write yes next to do you understand these rights? And I asked him to initial that after I handed the form to him. And then I asked the second question, which is understanding these rights, are you willing to answer questions? He said yes. I wrote yes, asked him to initial that, and then sign the form, and then Detective Horton signed the form as a witness to Mr. Duren signing.
Now, by signing the form, is that the defendant indicating that he understood his rights as they were read to him and that he was willing to speak with you?
Yes.
Now, in addition to signing, and without telling us what, if anything, was said, did the defendant make statements to you during this interview that confirmed that he understood his rights?
Yes.
After the Miranda process, did you continue speaking with this defendant?
I did.
Can you describe the manner in which this interview was conducted in terms of interview versus interrogation and how it began?
So Mr. Duren was, I formed the opinion shortly after meeting him at inside the King Cruiser that he was ready to talk to someone about what had happened. I would describe Mr. Duren as being very talkative that morning or afternoon. And he actually had some questions initially as well. And I had some questions that I was asked to ask about the children. So we started the conversation with basically answering Mr. Duren's questions.
Now, during the course of this interview, was the defendant again offered food and drink?
He had water and coffee before we started the interview, and I think we got him a sandwich after we finished.
If he had asked for a sandwich earlier, would you have provided that?
Yes.
Was he allowed to take breaks or use the bathroom?
Yes. Yes and no, because he had used the bathroom before, and then we kind of gave him the opportunity. We asked about using the bathroom before we concluded, and Mr. Duren actually decided, let's get through the questions and then use the bathroom.
During this interview, while you were speaking with Mr. Duren, what kind of tone of voice did you use?
Pretty much what I'm using right now. Just normal, my normal self.
And what about Detective Horton? What kind of voice did he use?
Detective Horton is a little louder in general. He just speaks very loudly, but his normal voice.
Did anybody yell or scream at the defendant?
No.
Did at any point you use aggressive body language or aggressive gestures?
I don't believe so, no.
At any point was your service weapon involved?
No.
Now, who spoke more during this conversation, yourself or the defendant?
The defendant.
And who led the conversation, yourself or the defendant?
The defendant, but I tried very hard not to interrupt, but there were times where we had to kind of get the conversation back on track.
Now, following the interview of the defendant, was there a search warrant process that was conducted?
Yes.
Can you explain the purpose of that process?
So it's a search warrant, we call it a body warrant, so there's a collection of a number of evidence. The photo that is still on the screen, so there's a number of photographs taken to document injuries or the lack of injuries. Oops, I guess I'm not supposed to talk about that.
No, it's all right.
So we take some photos to document injuries, non-injuries, any evidence that might be on Mr. Duren at the time. There's swabs for different things. So a DNA swab would be basically a Q-tip that goes inside of his mouth to collect cells from inside of his cheek. There would be typically gunshot residue swab to his hands. There would be fingerprints, sometimes a collection of fingernails, sometimes a collection of hair, and essentially in the collection of his clothing.
Is that customary to every homicide investigation that you've worked?
Yes.
Now, in addition to collecting items from his physical person, were items of his personal property recovered?
I believe there were some items from the vehicle and some items from his person. I believe his wallet was one of those things.
Okay. Was his clothing also recovered?
His clothing was collected, yes.
And was a cellular phone recovered?
I believe so.
Okay. You indicated that his wallet and identification cards were recovered?
Yes.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I'm showing you what is marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 31 in this case. Do you recognize what that is?
I do.
What is it?
It's a temporary New Hampshire driver's license.
Okay, is that a particular person's driver's license?
It's Mr. Duren's.
Okay, and was that recovered from him during this search process?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would seek to strike the ID and admit State's Exhibit 31 into evidence.
No objection.
The ID may be stricken with respect to Exhibit 31. It shall be considered a full exhibit.
Permission to publish.
Certainly.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I've placed State's Exhibit 31 up on the screen. You still have a copy with you. You also have a screen to look at.
Of course, we can't just watch the video. We need to fight over it first. 32. And help yourself to the water, sir. I like this guy. He is intriguing. He has a big cup, too.
All set?
Sergeant McLaughlin,
All set, excuse me. All set,
I apologize.
Counsel?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sergeant McLaughlin, with respect to State's Exhibit 31, which is on the screen, on all the screens, as well as in front of you, does that driver's license indicate what Mr. Duren's height and weight are?
It does.
And what were those?
His height is 5'10", and his weight is 190 pounds.
Sergeant McLaughlin, before we publish or talk about further or show or ask to admit the recording of the interview that you conducted, I have a few questions for you. During the time that the defendant was speaking with you, did he admit to you that he had shot and killed Caitlin Nafziger?
Yes.
Did he tell you what hand he had used to fire the gun?
Yes.
Which hand?
His right hand.
Did you ask the defendant whether Caitlin was threatening to harm either him or their daughter at the time that he shot?
Yes.
What did he say?
No.
Did the defendant explain to you whether his action in shooting Caitlin was done deliberately?
He said it was deliberate, yes.
Is it fair to say that the defendant told you that Caitlin had crossed a line?
Yes.
Did he describe where Caitlin was physically located when he shot her?
Yes.
What did he say?
She was seated on a couch.
Did he tell you where on her body he had shot Caitlin Nafziger?
Yes.
What did he say?
Her head.
Sergeant McLaughlin, did he describe to you the path of travel that the bullet took?
Yes.
If you recall, what did he say?
In one side and out the other, essentially.
Is it fair to say that he said it went straight through?
Yes.
Did the defendant tell you where his daughter Elowyn was physically located when he fired the shot that killed Caitlin Nafziger?
Yes.
Where was Elowyn located?
He had pulled Elowyn away from Caitlin and was holding her.
So at the time that the defendant fired the shot, he was holding Elowyn.
Yes, my understanding.
Did he describe how Elowyn reacted to the gunshot?
He described trying to shield her from seeing anything, and that Elowyn kind of put her hands over her ears and said, ouch loud, or something loud.
Did the defendant tell you what his mindset was after he shot and killed Caitlin?
He did.
What did he say?
He said that he knew that he was screwed, and that he performed well in stressful situations, and then he talked about wanting to spend time with the kids before he wanted to turn himself in or have to be at the police station.
And very clear, did the defendant turn himself in this instance?
He did not.
Sergeant McLaughlin, I'm showing you what is marked for identification purposes as States Exhibits 26A and B. Can you take a look at those items?
Yes.
Do you recognize them?
I do.
What are they?
They are video recordings of the interview with Mr. Duren.
And have you reviewed these specific discs, 26A and B?
I have.
And do they contain the full contents of the interview?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would ask to strike the ID as to these items and admit them as full. Your Honor, may we approach?
Yes.
Of course. Why not? Why not get number 33 in here before we play this? You're only delaying the inevitable. Those statements, if they are presented the way that this witness has just laid them out, seem very... that this is not boding well for the defense. Let's put it that way. It seems like this definitely implicates him with a consciousness of guilt. Consciousness of guilt. We're not seeing him say, seriously? Sorry, I have to cut from that. Why in the world? At least his social's not on there. YouTube doesn't like when people's personal documents are shown, even if it's a defendant. So. Let's do it again. Lengthy sidebar discussing something to do with the video that's about to be played. There were a lot of fights over this video, a lot of fights over the transcript. Hopefully we have audio that can stand on its own and doesn't require some sort of divining and or I don't know, Ouija board to figure out what was being said.
The jury, I have some things I do have to discuss with the attorneys at this point in time, and so at this point we will take another mid-morning break. I think it will probably be 10 minutes. That's my best estimate, but don't hold me to that.
I'm thinking 20.
Please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves, and we will be back as soon as we can. All rise.
Jury out for maybe a proffer and or a little bit of argument. We'll see if the witness gets to stay on the stand for this or if he has to leave the room. Remember, the judge still has to make the ruling on whether or not a custodial parent can kidnap their children.
Okay, so ready to proceed?
Yes, can we ask the witness to step down, at least initially, so we can just speak?
Please.
Here.
Okay, the witness is invited to leave for this one. So
We're still on the record. First thing I want to confirm on the record is that my assumption is, I haven't asked this yet, but I'd like to do it for purposes of the record, Attorney Duren, that the video that you're proffering does contain redactions consistent with my order issued on October 10th?
It does, Your Honor. It also contains them consistent with the transcript that defense counsel utilized in requesting those redactions.
Okay, understood. And as part of, because I have not viewed the video as part of the state's foundation, I think it's fair to just explain to the jury that that there have been some redactions, and so if they see any skips, I can certainly make an instruction to the jury that they are not to read anything into the skips. I can do that if anyone wishes, or I can just let it play. I can argue it either way. But we'll take that up when it comes. Attorney Kettles, with respect to the specific page, I do have the transcript in front of me.
Yes, Judge, I'd also like to have marked defense, or ID defense C. I think it might be useful for this discussion.
Okay.
This is a corrected transcript that was provided by the state. It's page 1747. And on page 87,
87 original numbering?
87 original numbering, so that's page 1833, line 15. It says, just to tighten that up, it has the same quote I referenced earlier. Mr. Duren, could it be that I'm endangering Elwyn by what I did? And I would very much say no. And just from that, even just my training, Sergeant McLaughlin. Yeah, just to kind of tighten that up a little bit more. You're an expert marksman of some sort in competition, so it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elwyn. So the corrected transcript provided by the state, page 1833, on the transcript itself, page 87, lines 8 through 15, makes it clear that the question that was asked of Mr. Duren by Mr. Sergeant McLaughlin was, it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elwyn, to which Mr. Duren responds, yes. My review of the subtitles on the CD that the state submitted is that it says, it's fair to say you knew you were endangering Elwyn. Answered yes. So I think the context of the statement immediately before, as well as the corrected transcript, which I'm going to hand to the monitor to mark for ID, makes it clear that the subtitles the state has are incorrect on a core issue as to the charge of endangering the welfare of a minor, which is whether or not Mr. Duren said he knew he was endangering Ellen. In fact, he said he knew he wasn't endangering Ellen. And my concern is just, given that we know we have a transcript with errors, the detective testified that it has errors. I found one that is very substantive. We don't know that the rest of the subtitles will be accurate, and rather than have something be admitted, even if they were to submit an updated version that removes the error, I think that the jury should be allowed to hear the best evidence, hear the video itself, and decide for themselves what it contains. This is why we raised the issue generally previously. We have a specific and very substantive example now, and we have the witness's testimony that the transcript contains multiple errors. So to use the subtitles, it's I think improper. The best evidence is the video. We need to make sure the jury gets accurate evidence as to core issues.
Your Honor, if I can just have one moment so that I can lay out for the court exactly the way that this has happened, because defense counsel utilized in their motion filed in, I think, September at this point, around the 25th, with respect to redactions for the transcript, they chose to utilize the original transcript that was provided. The state followed along with what defense was choosing to do. At the motions hearing on October 7th, defense counsel ostensibly derided the fact that the state had corrected the transcript, indicating that we had tried to correct it. And they chose which transcript to utilize. They have waited until today, despite the fact that they received these videos, knew exactly what transcript was being utilized because it was subject to the court order made on their motion. They waited until today to raise this issue, despite the fact that they have had these videos with the transcript attached since Friday the 17th, which is only 10 days, actually less than 10 days after the court ruled on the redactions. They were provided with them, they have had them, they have known that today was coming. They did not raise this yesterday when no one was sitting in court. They have waited, and this is a strategic choice that they have made. At no time did the state choose which transcript to utilize. We, in fact, asked the detective to make sure it was accurate. Defense counsel complained that we corrected it. They didn't use it in their filing on September the 25th. They didn't argue it at the motions hearing on October 7th. They didn't ask the court to review it. With respect to the corrected transcript, they have had this for well over, and I'm trying to find the date, well over 6 months. This is not a surprise. There's been no effort to surprise defense. This has all been their choice. This court will advise the jury that the audio of the transcript in the interview, much as I said to the detective, the audio is the evidence. This court, I am sure, will advise this jury that the audio is the evidence and that any difference between the audio and the transcript is for them to decide. Your Honor, this is a strategic choice for the defense trying to gain an advantage. And the state objects to this entire process, but would indicate that this court has ruled on the defendant's request, has utilized the transcript the defense has requested, as has the state. And as such, the state believes this should be admitted, it should be played, and the court can give a limiting instruction.
Your Honor, we're neither accusing the state of doing this on purpose, nor is this an attempt to gain a strategic advantage. When the state opened on the quote, "You knew you were endangering Ellen," and the answer yes, that drew to the defense's attention that there was an error discrepancy in what we believed the video showed. We did not know whether the state intended to introduce the video. In all of its pleadings, it said very clearly, and in email communication with us, we're not saying we're going to introduce these statements, but if we do, then here's what we'd like to discuss. The court's order said that any issues with the transcript, I believe the court's order said, should be addressed at the time that the state seeks to admit the subtitles. And so again, it's the timing is not any kind of strategery here, nor are we saying that there was any purpose on the state's part. I'll note that it was the exhibit was produced less than a week ago. As the court knows, it's over a 2-hour interview with a 100-page transcript, and to note differences between different versions of transcripts when there's so many in such voluminous discovery. We learned of it when we learned of it, which is after.
Your Honor, the defense was provided with 2 copies of this transcript. An original copy, which was provided, I believe, in March of 2024 or April. The video itself was provided in March. The corrected transcript, I was in error. It wasn't 6 months ago. It was 11 months ago. Defense counsel has had this. They've had experience with this. It's 2 transcripts, Your Honor. We're not talking about multiple transcripts. We're talking about 2. Of total, the state provided 4 transcripts. 2 originals, 2 corrected. One of them is not at play here. One of them does not involve this defendant.
Attorney Duren, doesn't the issue fall within the scope of the limiting instruction that you've already asked as part of the motion to use transcript?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. For purposes of the record, I'm just going to briefly indicate that the court had indicated that it would allow the state to back up a step. There are redactions to the statement which the court has ruled upon. Some redactions that were requested some redactions were made by agreement of the parties. Some redactions were requested by the defendant, and the state objected, and I issued rulings with respect to those redactions. So that's the starting place. The next step is with respect to the transcript itself. The state requested the ability to use the transcript as part of the proceeding. My ruling was that I believed that the use of the transcript would assist the jury in perceiving the evidence. Specifically, when the state asked to use the transcript as part of the trial, my ruling of October 17th indicates granted with respect to the relief requested and as to the state's proposed use set forth in paragraph 6B, which is a simultaneous playing of the video and the transcript, and to use the vernacular, it would be similar to subtitles, like pressing closed caption on most modern TV technology. Well, that's not part of my order, that's my comment. The court deems a one-time use of the subtitles to be an acceptable aid to the jury's understanding and comprehension of the evidence being presented. Exact wording of the limiting instruction may be modified after consultation with counsel at the time that the video is played. In my perception and observation and ruling is that's what's happening right now. The proffered use of the video with simultaneous subtitles will only occur once during presentation of evidence and not during openings or closings, parentheses, to reduce any potential cumulative effect, close parentheses, and such version, meaning the version with subtitles, will not be allowed as an exhibit for the jury's consideration during deliberations. That was my pretrial ruling of 6 days ago. As part of granting the state's motion, the state had proffered a limiting instruction, which is currently on page 5 of the state's pleading dated October 14th, which at the top of the page I will read that limiting instruction proposed by the state. Members of the jury, Exhibit X, and X is just a placeholder for what is now Exhibit 26B, am I correct? Exhibit 26B, a recording will now be played. A transcript of that recording will be visible on the screen below the video recording. The transcript is not evidence. The transcript is intended only as an aid to help you as you listen to the recording. Therefore, you may only consider what you hear and understand the contents of the recording to be. That means if you perceive a difference between the recording and the transcript, you must rely on the recording. I believe that Attorney Kettles has noted her observation of a difference in perspective as to what is said at the specific time. And as far as I'm concerned, that difference of a perception falls within the scope of the limiting instruction, and that, again, I believe the court's limiting instruction says if you perceive a difference between the recording and the transcript, you must rely upon the recording. I think that's fair commentary or cross-examination for Attorney Kettles to bring up as part of the playing of the video during a cross-examination of this particular witness, as well as any other comments, if there's any other perception as to any difference of opinion between the transcript and the perception of what is occurring on the video, that's fair commentary. I would also note that my pretrial ruling, again, was that the transcript itself would not be going into the evidence room, nor would the video which contains the subtitles, that the video with the subtitles will be played once, and that version of the video will not be going into the jury deliberation room, nor will a physical transcript. So I understand the concerns raised by the defense. I think they're well-founded concerns based upon, I haven't heard the video. So I'm making no preliminary finding of fact as to whether what Attorney Kettle says is accurate or inaccurate, but as an officer of the court whose credibility I don't question, if she says that there's a perception difference, I take her at her word for that, and so I think it's fair for her to argue that. I don't think it changes my ruling, and it doesn't change the limiting instruction, because this is exactly what I highlighted when I made my ruling on October 17th as it relates to the redactions, as it relates to the issue of the transcript. So as far as my ruling is concerned, it doesn't change my perception doesn't change my ruling as it relates to the playing of the video with the subtitles, and the limiting instruction will be granted, will be read to the jury. I think the limiting instruction is very important, and I think any perception between what is played on the video and the version of the transcript can be addressed as part of cross-examination. Attorney Kettles.
Judge, just a couple more notes. I'll note that I don't think either party recognized this discrepancy, because I don't think the state would have opened with evidence that it knew to be incorrect. So the corrected transcript is one that I believe has been adopted by Sergeant McLaughlin. I don't believe the court or the state can allow evidence that is incorrect, that is false, to go to the jury. And so I believe that it would be appropriate to voir dire Detective McLaughlin about what he said. And if in fact he said, it wasn't, so it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elowen, then either the jury should not be allowed to read evidence that is false, which is an incorrect subtitle, or the limiting instruction should be updated to say there is an error in the subtitle. The actual correct statement is fair to say you weren't endangering Elowen. I think we have an issue here where what the state provided as the accurate statement is different than the evidence it seeks to admit.
I understand, and your reference to not allowing the evidence, your reference to that relates to the playing of it in real time, not opposed to anything going in the room, because I've already ruled the transcript's not going.
That's correct. It goes to the jury seeing false evidence.
Understood.
And so I would ask that we be able to voir dire Detective McLaughlin about what he believes he asked, and cross-examine him with the corrected transcript, so that if he does in fact say, it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elowen, the jury is not getting false evidence. Understood.
And that they can be instructed so before the playing of the video.
Yes.
And Your Honor, I'm not sure what counsel is referring to as voir diring him, but they have adequate rights to cross-examination. The state has not done its examination of Sergeant McLaughlin, and as the court has already ruled, this transcript is not evidence. It's not going in. It's not staying with them. They're going to be told that the playing of the statement is the evidence.
Judge, it's going to be played for the jury. To say that things that don't go in are not evidence is akin to saying that testimony is not evidence. The state is now seeking to admit this evidence. It has an obligation to ensure it is not admitting evidence that is false. And so by voir dire, I simply mean question outside the presence of the jury so that the court can make an informed ruling and not allow the jury to hear false evidence.
This would be an admission to child endangerment.
I don't think it's false evidence I understand the concern, Attorney Kettles. I don't think it's false evidence as it relates to the playing of the video, when I'm also simultaneously instructing them that if there is a discrepancy, they are to consider the sound on the video as being primary and the transcript as being secondary. I will certainly entertain an instruction that indicates that I have been made aware, that the court has been made aware of an additional discrepancy, which will be an additional discrepancy between the transcript between the subtitle and what you hear, and that will be addressed by counsel during their examination of the witness.
They don't like it, but that might be the best thing.
And I think that's fair commentary. I think that's fair commentary that protects the defendant's rights, consistent with my prior rulings. Attorney Duren, any position on what I just said?
No, Your Honor.
Again, the limiting instruction that has been proffered stresses that the audio is primary, and I'm willing to supplement the instruction with a specific reference. I think that the best way to handle it is for me to tell them that. They will realize that something that they're going to hear may be different than the subtitle, and then that can be addressed as part of cross-examination.
Maintaining our continuing objection, Your Honor, just one additional point, which is that I don't believe that the exhibit with the subtitle should be a full exhibit because it's not going back to the jury. I think it should remain as ID.
The only reason it's being offered, Your Honor, as an exhibit for evidence purposes is so that it can be played. If it's ID only, it technically cannot be played, but it certainly can be withheld from the jury's deliberations.
Correct. I mean, the perception, I want to make sure I have the right exhibit numbers. With subtitles redacted, 26A will continue to be, 26A has been identified. 26A will continue to be considered ID. 26B, 26B is the one which has been agreed as a full exhibit. Am I correct?
Yes, Judge.
And so 26B will be allowed into the jury room. 26A will not be allowed into the jury room. And again, that is only with respect to a one-time viewing by the state, one-time production, playing by the state. If defense wants to play it further as part of cross-examination, they are certainly entitled to do so. My instruction to the state was that it would be a one-time playing. Defendant's continuing objection relative to the issue is noted with respect to the transcript and the subtitles. Again, my ruling is that the transcript and the subtitles themselves are not going into the jury deliberation room whatsoever.
Why are you still standing? Sit down. Thank you. I don't like this. Let me tell you why I don't like it. Mike, there are a number of reasons on that. We're not covering that one, and the biggest ones were just scheduling. We have other things we're covering. But there's some other ones. I don't like the transcript embedded on the video. If you've ever surfed through social media and found like a recording of somebody saying something, and then on the screen it has suggestions of what they're saying and it changes. There's a pretty famous one that uses like a football chant over and over and over, and they keep changing the text on the screen, and as long as you have the words on the screen of what you think it should be, that's what it sounds like. And so if you have 8 things on a list, whichever one you're reading at the time, and you're listening to that loop over and over, that's what it will sound like.
Mentioning right
I don't
now
like that.
This is a 2-hour video. I don't know what the court wants to do in terms of starting it and then
issue popcorn
in the middle for lunch, or how the court wants to handle scheduling of it. I think it's 2 hours, 6 minutes, and some change.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't aware of how long it was. I know it was lengthy, and I have reviewed the transcript many times, but I wasn't sure how long it was. Counsel's preference relative to the.
I think a preference to start now, go for an hour, take a
That's
break.
another.
I think that will ensure we have full attention. It can be difficult to pay full attention to our video.
Okay, given the current time, I'm inclined to stop at 12:30, Attorney Duren, but I don't know where in that process where we will be. But what we'll do is based upon the defendant's position as just articulated by Attorney Kettles, what we'll do is we'll start the video at some point between 12:10 and 12:30. At some point in that range, Attorney Duren, whatever works for you from your presentation, we'll stop there, and I will have a full hour for lunch. Okay, so once again, I'm going to, my ruling is that the state can play the video with the subtitles. I'm going to be providing a limiting instruction as follows. Excuse me. Members of the jury, Exhibit 26B, a recording will now be played. A transcript of that recording will be visible on the screen below the video recording. The transcript is not evidence. I'm going to use the word subtitles. The subtitles are not evidence. The subtitles are intended only as an aid to help you as you listen to the recording. Therefore, you may only consider what you hear and understand the contents of the recording to be. That means if you perceive a difference between the recording and the subtitles, you must rely on the recording. Further, the court has been made aware of another potential discrepancy between the audio and the subtitles. The discrepancy will be addressed during cross-examination. Again, you are to consider the audio you hear to be the primary source of the information you are to consider. Understanding the defendant's objection to the process, any issue with that specific limiting instruction?
Just the
Continuing objection noted.
previously raised.
Okay, Attorney Duren, any issue with that?
There you go.
So Attorney Duren is prosecuting Mr. Duren.
11:23 we'll suspend right now and be back at 11:30 to resume. So a regular break from now, 11:23 to 11:30. We'll resume at that time.
How long was this break? How long did the judge leave for when he told the jury it would be 10 minutes? I don't like this. I don't like this. The power of suggestion is the issue. It is very easy to suggest to somebody's mind, this is what you're hearing. If I were to have the word vacuum on the screen and mouth the word to you, you'd clearly say, yeah, he said vacuum. But if I were to have the FU on the screen and mouth the word vacuum to you, you would think I said the FU. It's very easy to link those two up in your head. And if they have these subtitles on the screen to help them understand what is being said, they will hear what the subtitles say. And then they won't have any, yeah, it was 24 minutes. That's funny. I guessed 20. So somebody guessed a specific time. Who was it that guessed a very, very specific time of how long it was going to be? I can't scroll back that far. All right. It was you, Josh. What was your time that you suggested? It was 24 minutes, right on the button. Why don't they play the videos without subtitles? Because now it's currently, as it exists, it has subtitles. But I guess they have it without as well, because that's going to go back to the jury. I'm not liking it. I'm not liking this. But I think this is ripe for appeal. It's extremely suggestive, yes. I have a feeling it was AI generated. That's even worse. If the subtitles are like well off, and the whole idea with the judge saying, "And I've been informed that there's another discrepancy." The way I heard it, I thought the defense was saying, "We think he said were," and the words text says weren't. That's a discrepancy. Or that's an area that's in debate. But the prosecution is not fighting, saying, actually, he said were. They're not fighting that, so maybe they're just conceding on this point. I think the judge, knowing that, should make the prosecution correct it or account for it when it's provided, and not just let it stand and go forward and put it on the burden of the defendant to fix an issue he knows exists in the evidence. It's messy, it's dirty, it takes a lot of tech work to fix it, but that's, I think, the right thing to do. If it's anything like closed captioning on YouTube, it's never going to be right. I can only imagine it would be funny. Oh yeah, it's going to have like SpongeBob and stuff in it, you know, things that was like, that's not what he said. Why are they on break again? The judge needed a break this time. He's got 7 minutes. After one time of playing with the subtitles, it can't be viewed. So they get one shot with the subtitles, pay attention, and then from then on, they have to look at the original without subtitles. It is going to depend on the audio quality, insert file name for sure. If this is terrible quality, people will be glued to the subtitles. And once they've heard it that way, it's going to stick. Regina Crawford gifted a membership. Vicky Hendricks, congratulations, you're the recipient. We use Justice Text for jail transcripts. They're decently accurate, but should be reviewed either way. Yeah, I'm not excited about 2 hours of poor quality audio. It's been a morning and a half. Amber, how's your morning going? Apparently, he admitted he wasn't in danger and his kids weren't in danger at the time he fired the shot. That's like close the book. We're done reading at this point. Why? We just read the conclusion. That's the ending. There's nothing else to read here. Well, how are you gonna recover from that? Let's see. This discrepancy is about whether or not he was intending to harm Elwyn. It's whether or not he knowingly put Elwyn in danger. And I believe one of the charges he's facing is a child endangerment charge. So it directly addresses one of the charges. And the defense doesn't want to give any freebies to the jury and just give away all the elements of one of the charges against him. Let's see. Defendant's dad knows his son is going down. I think he does. Love a little Metallica. That could be enough, yeah. She doesn't have to be downrange of the weapon to be in danger. You're firing a firearm in an area that's, a house. There's all sorts of opportunities for ricochets and everything else. It's just plus the noise. That's enough. It's been a morning. Virginia, thank you for adding to the glass fund. I still say put up police tape around it for Halloween. I think maybe like a cross on the door, like an X. I guess I could. I mean, the police have been there. They've already taken pictures of it and everything. So we're done. Kim, I bought my hubby a 25-year sobriety coin, and the envelope I received was all taped up and empty. Oh, no, Kim. Did it fall out in the mail? It was all taped up, like a scam. It's terrible. Put up a condemned notice, or just leave the existing one. Greener, so I don't have to do anything special. And hands sticking out of the glass. Question for you. Is there any craft that needs that shattered glass when it spiders down to little tiny... is there any craft that, is useful to have cut glass other than just like stomping across it to show how tough your feet are or something? Before I throw it all away, I've got like 25 mosaic. I could put the door back together. It's the world's hardest puzzle. Ruth Ann, thanks for gifting a membership. Cupcake, you are the lucky recipient. Josh, subpoena for my show cause. Yes. I wasn't saying what you said in chat. You'll have to share the rest of it. It was in mod chat, and we have rules. Why would Josh have a show cause hearing? As Judge Boyd would say, so here's the thing. Oh, it's very sharp. It's very sharp. Set it in resin. Would the resin just make it all just appear solid? There are kits you can use that glass to make a small lampshade around a tea light. Make paperweights. Maybe we could sell it. I could autograph each piece and auction off a piece of glass. Leaded glass terrarium. I don't think it's leaded. It's newer glass. I don't think it's leaded. Don't mess with the glass. It's evidence. I already did. I already knocked it all out. Use gloves. I didn't, and I've got little shards of glass all over my arm. In the right light, I sparkle. Missed what happened. Somebody shot out my door, I think, this morning, 6:30. Probably a BB gun or something. But nothing on the cameras. Nothing we can see. Can someone from New Hampshire call in and say New Hampshire in the most New Hampshire-ish way? I think it's a soft R. New Hampshire? I don't know if I can do it. I think it's a soft R. It's not Shire, I can tell you that. It's not. Can sell it, auction it off for Runkle's Stollery Stream. And you get a piece of broken glass, and you get a piece of broken glass. I can melt it down and make a new glass. Ooh. Are they deliberating? No, we're in a break. We're just waiting to have the video start being played. We also have lunchtime starting soon. Make a mosaic on a table. It's all just clear glass, though. Let's see if an art studio or school would like a glass donation. I'm not very gifted in the art department, as you guys know. I was not born a crafter. Throw it away. It'll just be more stuff hanging around. Laurie, you just made my wife's day. Nah, put it in box, throw glass in trash. Oh, we have somebody calling in.
Call from RTB.
RTB, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you, Ari?
Fabulous. Are you from New Hampshire by any means?
I'm not from New Hampshire, but I lived there for several years, and one of my children was born there.
Ah, so you're next to native. What?
Sort of ish.
How would you?
They say. They say New Hampshire.
Okay, one more time.
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
Yeah, and they don't say yeah. They say yep. So, like, if you're gonna hang up on the phone and you say instead of saying goodbye, they go yep, bye.
All right. RTB, they are now the judge is back. So we need to go. But
Okay.
thank you for New Hampshire. New Hampshire. Thank you very much for that. We'll see you.
All right. Okay, bye.
Sloth Life says, a fun fact, my hubby had to tell me that my dad had a pew-pew in the house when he passed. His dad asked him to dispose of when he knew he wasn't going home. Hubby needed access before my sis knew or she'd flip. Yeah, I had someone reach out to me. I had someone reach out to me. A lady that she was actually I met her sister, and this lady, her husband had passed, and she reached out to me and said, my husband had some firearms, and I'm not a gun person. Can you come pick them up? They're yours. And so I drove to Colorado and picked up the
Sergeant, you're
guns.
still under oath?
And
You're still under oath?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. Attorney Duren, my
Everyone's
understanding is
happy.
that you were submitting the exhibit for admission?
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the state would move to strike the ID off of State's Exhibits 26A and 26B and move to admit them as full.
And
Judge, in addition to the prior discussion, I would just note that no objection to the non-subtitle version being admitted as full.
so the ID may be stricken with respect to 26B from defense perspective?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, the ID shall be stricken with respect to Exhibit 26B, and I'm denying the state's request with respect to 26A as it relates to the inclusion as a full exhibit, but not for purposes of presentation.
Now, Sergeant McLaughlin, before we continue with respect to this, I just wanted to ask you a couple more questions. Do you recall at what point you conducted a review of the transcript that you saw, State's Exhibit 27? At what point you conducted that review in order to determine if there were any typographical or other errors inside of the transcript?
I'd say it was over a year ago, close to a year ago.
And have you been able to look at your corrected version next to the version that was the original that you reviewed?
Briefly.
For lack of a better way to ask that question. I'm going to ask you to take a look at State's Exhibit 32, which I've marked for identification purposes. Now, these are bait stamped pages. Where's numbers? Try that again, Sergeant McLaughlin. I'm going to approach and show you what I've marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 32 for the record, bait stamp pages 1747 through 1919. Can you take a look at State's Exhibit 32 and tell me if you recognize it? You're welcome to take it down and walk through it if you will.
I recognize it as a transcribed portion of the audio recording.
Okay. And if you look at that exhibit in conjunction with State's 27, which you also have, can you take a look to see if there have been any corrections made? And maybe in order to assist you, I'll direct you to a specific page. If you can look at page 89 of both of those exhibits, and that would be the 89 at the top of the page, not the bait stamp number. I believe with respect to State's 27, that would be bait stamp number 478, and I cannot tell you with respect to the other at this time.
89 on both copies?
Yes. So beginning at the bottom of page 89 and moving into page 90, I apologize.
Okay.
Are there any corrections that you made on that page? If the answer is no, that's fine.
We're going to be here all day.
It looks like it's the same. At the bottom?
Okay, so no corrections?
Not that I'm seeing.
Perfect. Can you move to page 87 in both documents?
87, backwards?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
I'd like to draw your attention, which should be the middle of the page. Do you see any corrections to page 87 that show that there was an error in the original transcript?
How many pages do we have to go through with 2 hours of video?
In the middle of the page, I'm not seeing anything.
Okay. May I approach?
Certainly.
I'm going to point you to lines 12 to 17, if you can read through those sections, and let me know if there is a difference in between those lines, between lines 12 and 17 on page 87.
Hint, hint, you should find one here.
Okay, yes, I see it now.
Okay, is there a place in the original transcript, not the one that you reviewed, where the person who listened to the audio heard, what did the person in the audio hear? Go ahead and tell us.
So there's, in one copy, it says the word were, and in the other copy is the word weren't.
Okay, and is the word were correct or the word weren't?
The correction I made was weren't.
Okay, and you based that correction on listening to the audio, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, you had been present, you heard the audio, and you looked at the transcript and saw that it was an error.
Yes.
Okay, so the audio with respect to the statement that you took of the defendant, in that audio, does the defendant tell you that he knew that he was endangering his daughter at the time? Did you ask him that?
I did.
You asked him if he was endangering his daughter when he fired the shot, correct?
Correct.
What was the defendant's response?
So I asked him if he, I'm not reading this, correct?
Tell us from your recollection.
Okay. So I asked him if Elwin was in danger when he fired the gun.
And what was his answer?
So I asked, I actually have to read this, I think, because I asked, it's fair to say you weren't endangering Elwin, and he said yes.
Okay.
So it's fair to say that he wasn't endangering Elwin.
Okay, but the transcript that is the original transcript to this audio, the word weren't came across as the word were, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, but in all cases, just like you did, anyone listening to the audio should take the audio as the evidence. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
This three-ring circus brought to you by the defense and sidebar number 33.
Your Honor, at this time, the state would, pursuant with all the orders of this court and the court's indication, publish State's Exhibit 26A for the jury.
Okay. Members of the jury, Exhibit 26A, a recording will now be played. Subtitles for that recording will be visible on the screen below the video recording. The subtitles are not evidence. The subtitles are intended only as an aid to help you as you listen to the recording. Therefore, you may only consider what you hear and understand the contents of the recording to be. That means if you perceive a difference between the recording and the subtitles, you must rely on the recording. The court has been made aware of a potential discrepancy between the audio and the subtitles. The discrepancy may be addressed during cross-examination. Again, you are to consider the audio you hear to be the primary source of the information you are to consider. Thank you.
There should be audio. We're only allowed to play at one time. Oh, good. We've got the below the table camera operating, because that's the view we wanted.
Your Honor, at this time, publishing States Exhibit 26A. And one more question, Sergeant McLaughlin, before I go. I think we already asked you this, but because it's been a little bit, how long was the interview that you conducted with the defendant?
It's over 2 hours.
Okay, approximately 2 hours and 6 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
And based upon that answer, I'm going to tell the jury we will be taking a break for lunch during the viewing of the video.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Certainly.
Yep, let me do the, yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer, let me do this part first. And then I'll tell you who. So we'll start kind of like your priority concern, and I'll try to answer your best questions the best I can, because I know it's going to be a gazillion things they want to create. And then we'll get into kind of talk about here. Before we do anything else, water, coffee, good? All right. So I'm going to read you are you okay? Are you okay? And ask if you want to answer our questions and stuff. Okay?
Your Honor, your approach.
This is right to me this time. You understand that?
Okay, I just got my fake blood. I think I ordered more than this, but it arrived. It did arrive in a federal violation because it used a piece of U.S. mail as packaging.
I was told counsel wanted to see me at sidebar.
We're now complaining about the quality of the audio, the ability to hear. We're going to complain about that too, so hopefully they can get that sorted out.
Hello.
Hello. Fake blood. Made by a company, the brand name is Toxics, which I think it's still supposed to be non-toxic.
Okay, members of the jury, it's my understanding that the audio is at the maximum level. Can you hear? Can the jury members hear? Let the record reflect that they're nodding yes. And the audio will stay up as much as it can during the entire time.
Anything you say can and will use against you in court. You understand that? Yes. You have a right to talk to a lawyer for advice before a question, and to have one with you during a question. You understand that? Yes. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you. You understand that? Yes. And if you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you still have the right to stop answering questions at any time. You understand that? Yes. And I kind of add a little bit to that on my own. If you decide to start talking to us and answering questions, and I ask you a question that you don't want to answer, but you kind of want to continue talking to us, just say, I don't want to answer that question. Fair enough. And then we can move on to the do you understand ancient threats? Yes. I'm going to write yes next to this. And that's what your initial attack. And understanding these rights, are you willing to answer a question? Yes. I'm going to write yes next to that. So yes. Initial that. So just initial, sign in, Your girls are at Cheshire Medical, which is down here in Keene, affiliated with government. And my understanding is that Caitlin's aunt, Brenda, is assuming DC, so DCF in New Hampshire. You're from Minnesota originally, right? Originally, yes. In New Hampshire, DCF is like the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. So they're kind of like CVS, whatever it is in Minnesota, Child Protection Services. So that at this point, they kind of like review everything. They actually have some questions that I want to ask you too. Just want to primary care and stuff like that. They kind of step in because of what's going on, and then they always try to get the girls to some kind of thing, whether it's family in Minnesota or family here in New Hampshire. Brenda's probably the closest I would assume. So she's kind of in contact or in contact with us. So that's kind of like plan A at this point, assuming PCOF is okay with everything. It sounds like Brenda will be kind of looking at since she's is that a good option for now?
For now. I guess how this goes, can I just ask questions whenever? Does that matter?
As we go. Yeah. Well, I'm very easy, as you probably figured out.
Well, I was going to ask, I guess, did someone contact the police? For how it happened?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Say who?
Well, yeah. So what happened was at like 4 a.m. this morning, like an error statewide, I would imagine. It will be up at 4 a.m. And that's something we started reading.
No, I meant.
Berlin.
No, I meant, how did police know anything even happened?
Yeah, they don't know. The Berlin police went to the house apartment, and that's from there. I don't know how they got home from other neighbors. But
I'm at, yeah. I was asking for a reason, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess I'll say, for just family, kind of one of the things was I want to make sure that my mom was aware. And that was my preference. So I just wanted to make sure that my mom knew that the kids were here in Keene.
Where's your mom?
She's amazing.
It's 2024. I couldn't tell you if I would go off the top of my head. You know,
it's in my phone. Yeah.
Where is your phone? Keene. Right.
At the scene.
What's your mom's name? D-E-O-R-A-H?
D-E-B-R-A.
Say the last name. So, do the kids have a primary care in New Hampshire? Yeah.
No. I literally, I was supposed to have a call today.
What hospital? Or where?
Because we'll probably get into this because I'm assuming you don't want like an entire walkthrough. We lived in Nevada before here.
Minnesota, Nevada, or no?
So Minnesota, Minnesota was never really in the picture. I've been in Nevada. I mean, it's in the picture, I guess. We've been in Nevada for the past. Well, she was in Nevada, and all of us were in Nevada for the past 4 to 5 years. But I lived there
I'm not moving, guys. This is where I am. I'm not moving. I saw everybody. I'm not moving.
The kids had Medicaid there. And so what I was doing here was trying to do, so I had to cancel the Medicaid and then I had a phone call for them getting Medicaid here today, but obviously.
Kids born in about both?
The Evelyn, the 4-year-old, was actually born in Minnesota, but then left when she came in, she was 6 months, about 6 months. And they lived the 1-year-old.
Different names, what's the background of the names? Yeah. What about the meaning? Just like,
there's not really,
just like names. They're different names. They're very different. I like them both. How about like any health concerns with girls? So because of what happened, because of the way the girls came to the hospital, there's a lot of questions. And I think the highlight questions are, do they have any injuries that you're aware of? Any poisoning or access, anything like that? Okay, totally healthy as far as I know. How about like allergies? Anything else like medically that they need to be concerned about? Totally healthy. What did they order at the restaurant? Did you even get to order?
Oh, they were, okay, I can't remember. Was it you that came to the door? Okay, well, no. Oh, no. I guess.
I'm sure they've eaten by now. And I'll give you food, but.
Yeah, and they yeah, I mean, they had been eating, this was more so, I could probably go into more detail on it, but because I was actually already in New York, but I turned around because I didn't want to, I ended up deciding that I wanted to,
keep us must surrender here.
And then, yeah, then I thought I'll try to eat breakfast. And I was actually really hungry. Somehow. And I didn't notice when I was driving through King, and I was like, I saw the Chili's, and then I saw the police department right there, and I was like, I go to Chili's, and everybody be sitting right there. My hope was that what I wanted to do, which I will say everything was very professional. So I'm very appreciative of that overall. Because I just didn't want to get caught like what happened, because I didn't want anything crazy to happen to the kids there. Like I wanted to kind of walk in and be like, hey, here's the kids, like, please see the kids.
But it worked out okay, I
guess. I mean, obviously my biggest thing is that I didn't actually, like, we did the salary, but like, I had to,
So you know a lot more about what's going on in the last day or two than I do. I'm saying that because I'm probably going to ask you lots of stupid questions that you would assume I would already know. But that's not. So I'm just turning this back around because the cancellation of the Amber were actually just turned off my recorder. Just background to that. Yeah, so that's kind of like that. That's what I woke up to there for in the morning. So I found a few songs. It's just something that, this case actually is very useful. It's safe, right? So I apologize for that. But I guess I'm going to control that. kind of changed a little bit after COVID happens. But I was going to ask, both Ellen and Valen are your daughters, but also Dean's daughters. Dean's daughters. Another more question. When did you move to New Hampshire? So I got here 23rd of January. And specifically, it's just because that's what works for the budget when I was working. I got basically I got hooked up with the place. And that's just what worked out. I don't know if you're going to want to hold me up. Like, you want me to know how you move. Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you. Because particularly, because we had done it about, obviously, I obviously was doing so, that's very good. Well, let's start with moving to Hampshire. So, a couple of years ago, she had been talking about how she didn't want to be with that. And I actually love that. I
have a thing for the desert.
I said, basically saying, okay, and where do we, like, it's beyond, like, one place.
Let me see if I can get this a little better. Hold on 1 second. We're going to pause for a second, guys. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. We're going to see if we can get everything synced up. Then maybe be able to bring in all the text for you.
Yeah. So this got brought up and
Give me a second.
and then like as we were kind of exploring several different states where to go to, that kind of idea of getting energy. From there on, it's a little bit of tangent, but if you want, I'm sure it's so then we had agreed, okay, New Hampshire. And then, so we had fully prepared. This was, so our lease was up on late July or August of just this past year, 23. And so the lease was up, and then when we started getting pallets shipped to over stuff to New Hampshire, then she decided, without telling me, that she ordered her own pods and then got our stuff and shipped them to, and so I guess, because I guess I should say, I should be clear on this, that prior to that happening, of her ordering her own pods, and she took pretty much like 90% of all her stuff. So prior to that happening, like we had problems, but that was like legitimately the first time I yelled at it. And I feel like that's kind of two different pages. But so like even if we had issues, it was I'm very big on. I've always been very strong on raising kids. So with all the problems, I was trying to just say,
anyways, that happened to where, so all our stuff went to Minnesota, and I obviously, the plan was to go to New Hampshire, and that was without her saying anything. The moment I knew was when the pods, like, were actually there, and that was when I confirmed out about this, and then shortly after, she took our 1-year-old without me knowing. She didn't say anything. She took the stroller and she was going to the park that was nearby, which was the kids, the park all the time. And so she took the stroller and just left like she walked in the park. I didn't think too much of it, but then it was like several hours later and they hadn't returned, and so like I went to the park and they weren't there, and then I was trying to call and be like, what is going on? And she was at the airport already taking her home and bringing her to Minnesota, and I ended up like driving to the airport trying to be like, yo, what is going on? And I called like my parents, I called her parents. This would be common in conversations, but I've always tried to stay very, I try to keep everyone informed, so like my family and her family. So anyways, when that happened, I talked to my parents, I talked to her parents, and like, what is going on? I regret not just staying in I know that was my first mistake, because if I just stayed in Nevada and had been talking to other family lawyers, I kind of lost power because I followed her to Minnesota. I ended up talking to her family and my family, and everyone kind of convinced me that, you know, I'd like keep the kids together, because I saw that helping. Basically, like, you just keep the kids together, just come back to Minnesota, we're all here, and then we can figure stuff out, and then we can continue on to just come back here. I guess I just as a clarification of how, like, I had no idea that she left the program at the time. All of her stuff was still, I kept all the picture of it. All of her stuff was still everywhere, all the times. So she didn't even take anything, she didn't move anything, she just so anyways, I followed to Minnesota. I tried to make things work. There was a lot of fighting. She was very aggressive about, she is the mom, and she has all the rights. And so it was getting to a point to where she was deciding to keep the kids away from me. And got into a bunch of different stuff. I'm not going to talk to you about that, where I am and so where. But they're kind of explaining, like, the UCC, JE, the from custody or something. So where they're kids. However, I guess that's what you're saying. She had the kids, and I'll let you see that. I finally had kind of a sit down with her and her dad, and I kind of gave them a shot of, hey, I can throw everything out. Can we just continue the route to nature? And she agreed. And this was in, I don't know the exact date, probably finished mean, well, okay, you're in Minnesota, and there's holidays coming up. So it's Thanksgiving, Adam's birthday is December 2nd. There's Christmas, and Adam's birthday is January 7th. So you agreed, okay, we'll stay here then until Adam's birthday. And then we'll continue on to
Okay, I can sort of get the words on, but I need to pause things for a little bit.
We're still in two separate places in Minnesota. Twice a week, each drive.
How about we fix it on lunch? What do you guys think about that? I'm not moving. Stop asking.
Twice a week, I was fine driving down.
I'm going to bring in the words like this. Well, like this. So I'll move the words over so you can see them. But this is my corner, and I was here first.
And then once the time came, I drove out here. So that was the thing that I wanted to just really was, and I was going to drive out with which I guess I considered my girlfriend at that time. She was fantastic. I was not very well, but she was fantastic. It was so I felt more confident. So it was that weekend, and I don't remember the exact days, but it was the weekend after that, January 17th. So anyways, that's when I took Ellen and went out to New Hampshire.
Your Honor, noting the time is 12:15, and this might be a good place to stop.
Okay. All right, so we will continue with the playing of the video after the lunch break. We'll suspend here for the lunch break. Members of the jury, once again, please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves or with anyone else. Please conduct no research or transmit any information about the case to anyone else. And again, if you do run into anybody at any place in Lancaster during the lunch break, please don't take offense if they don't speak to you at all. We will resume at 1:15. Okay, thank you.
All right. So I've been working on getting this perfect for you. So and let's see. Let me just get this synced up absolutely perfectly, or as best we can. Hold tight, please. So you can see, if not here, we're doing the best we can on the audio as well, but it's terrible recording. We're still in the early stages. Okay, waiting for two heads to move. Hello. Hang on one second. Waiting for heads to move. It'll be synced. 3, 2, 1. Come on. Okay. There we go. Okay. Now we're synced up, so I'll be able to have the words on the screen where you can see them and do everything else. All right. Why did I hear hold please? Hold please. Like that. I don't know. You heard hello. You heard hello. That happens a lot. Every 15 seconds or so. All right. He spoke to a couple different lawyers about his situation. He's definitely trying to set up his story for why he did what he did. Interesting that he initially comes in and is like, how'd you guys know? Who told? Did somebody call you? Did somebody call you and tell you? I mean, how'd you know what happened? These are his questions. He wants to know if his family called. He wants to know if his family called him in. And he had a reason for asking that. And the police don't give him anything. They say, we don't know. We're on this end, right? That whatever happened over there, they haven't told us yet. What happened there? I guess the police showed up and was it a neighbor? Did they hear something? I don't know. It's a mystery to us too, bud. It's a mystery to us too. We just know that the Amber Alert went out and it listed your car, and somebody saw you, and here we are. So that's how we ended up here. But all right, we're going to be coming back from lunch. The lunch is until 1:15, so we get a break until just after 1. I like how the detectives are just letting him talk and talk. Yes, that's a great strategy, because as long as he's talking about the case, they're getting information they need. Some of it about him, some of it's whether he's telling the truth, but it's all good. I got somebody on the phone. Hold on just one second.
Call from Sugar Magnolia.
Sugar Magnolia, this is RA. You're live on the air. How are you doing?
Good, how are you?
Fabulous. What's on your mind?
Good. So I'm calling to settle the great debate of how to say New Hampshire.
Okay. I realize there are multiple versions depending on where you are and how long you've lived there. But
48 years.
48 years.
Yeah.
So is
Born,
New Hampshire? Is New Hampshire?
So, no, it's
No.
New Hampshire. So New Hampshire. That's what most people say, New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
But,
just like it sounds.
Yeah.
You don't drop any letters.
Yeah.
You don't add any new ones.
No, unless, which a lot of people come from Massachusetts and live here, or they were raised by parents from Massachusetts, so they would probably say New Hampshire.
Clearly degenerates, right? I'm not saying the sure part.
Yeah, so it is Hampshire. Now, where this case is taking place in Lancaster, some people might say Lancaster.
All right. Can you know the coin we have that has George Washington on it? 4 of them makes $1. What is the name of that?
The $50? Is that what it is?
The half of a $50.
Oh, I don't know.
So it's worth 25 cents. You got.
You want me to say the quarter?
I don't want. Yeah, say that one more time.
Quarter.
All right. It's just a little test we're going to have you say. So you're like, I'm not sure. I specifically was being obscure about that. That's awesome. So New Hampshire.
Now, this is a beautiful town. So when the judge does say you might run into people, it is like a main street and that's it.
Ooh.
Beautiful town.
So
when he's going to lunch, he says, don't be offended because there's like it's a mom and pop little beautiful town. If you Google it and get a picture, I love going through there because it's just so pretty and so cute. It's like it's a little quaint town with old buildings and.
Is there only like
shops.
one place to eat?
There's only a few, but it's all on just one little main street, and that's it.
If I were to visit, where's the one place I should stop to get just the most New Hampshire of New Hampshire meals?
In Lancaster?
Yeah.
Or anywhere?
Well, in say that county, around about these parts.
I don't know. There's so many little like cute little diners and it's just such a small town and it's a big snowmobile town in the winter.
All right, so ice fishing, moose hunting, lobster and chowder, right?
That probably wouldn't get too much of that up there because that's pretty far up north. And as we always say in New Hampshire, up north. Got to go up north. So that's, I mean, you're going, like, if you're going to Lancaster, you're going probably to visit up there. You're going snowmobile. You're going, you know, or seeing the sights. Pittsburgh isn't too far from there, and that's a big town that people like to visit. And that borders Canada, so it's like way up there.
Okay.
Yeah, but
So-
it's a beautiful little town. Cute little quaint town.
I've
But
got a question.
You could drive through it and miss it.
I've got a question I probably shouldn't ask because it will show my my lack of knowledge, geographically speaking. Are you guys close to like Niagara Falls or something? Is that up in those parts? Or are you like, am I in the wrong part of the country for that? What else do you have up near the border? Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yeah. So no, that would not be near Niagara Falls.
No, okay. I didn't think
I'm
so.
probably gonna be wrong here.
Just confirmed. So we're thinking about the right place. Niagara
No,
Falls,
I mean once
Buffalo,
you get
New
up
York.
there, it's
Okay.
like you could go through these towns like Lancaster and Colebrook and Pittsburgh, and you could be in Canada without even knowing it. Kind of a town, like little towns.
Like you could accidentally drive into Canada up there.
Yes, people do it all the time. And when you're snowmobiling, you go from New Hampshire to Canada. There's just trails all through there within minutes, and you would not even know.
Living on a border town like that, do you just carry your passport everywhere, or do they just know you? They're like, hey, you crossed over again. Get back on your side. How do they handle that?
Yeah, pretty much. You either have your passport, or they just kind of, you know, they're used to it. There's a lot of leaf peepers up there to go see the leaves, and yeah. So yeah, you can just. I'm sure they're so used to it at the border, just, you know, kind of turn around or.
Awesome.
You know. Yeah.
Thank you for all
too much of a hard time.
for all the clarifications. We've got another call coming in, probably with a new pronunciation,
Okay.
so I've got to take that one. All right. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
From Meaning Banana to accept.
Meanie Banana, this is RA. You're live on the air. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Great. Do you happen to be in New Hampshire?
What's that?
Do you happen to be in New Hampshire?
No, I'm in Pittsburgh. I'm hanging with Jens.
Okay.
So Pittsburgh near. You were thinking about Canada?
All right. I was just wondering what you do up there by the border.
Oh, Canada's like by Buffalo, New York, and it's not nice there. I wouldn't recommend it.
Do they have any buffalo, or is it a complete misnomer?
There's no buffalo in Buffalo. You might get robbed, but
now the Canadians are going to call and say, "Hey, that's not what I'm talking about." A boot.
Yeah, you want to get Canada's beautiful. You could tell the difference. You just cross that Rainbow Bridge or whatever up there, and it's gorgeous. It's just so pretty. Yeah.
It looked good from the air. I've only been there once, and that was in, I think, like Toronto or something. I forget.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's really nice. It's so clean. Their parks are just so clean, and they take such good care of their properties. And it's just it's night and day. You can tell.
Yeah. All right. Well, now we know where we need to go on vacation. Just maybe not in the wintertime, because you guys get a boatload of snow, which Mrs. R.A. is not a fan of. So.
Niagara Falls is gorgeous in the winter too.
Can you turn the heater on just so it's warmer? Because all that cold, the water.
If you get a hotel room, it's gorgeous. Like there's some really good deals if you go up during the winter. You can get a hot tub.
Nobody wants to freeze. Nobody wants to be there when it's cold.
Hot tub room overlooking the falls. It's gorgeous. It's very romantic.
Oh, that would be gorgeous. Hot tub and the falls. All right. Wonderful. Meanie Banana, thanks for the call. Is there anything else you had to call to share, or is that just giving us the lowdown on the area? Hello? We lost her. Maybe she muted us. All right, we're gonna go to lunch. Meanie Banana, thanks for the call. I apologize. It shows you're still there, but we can't hear you. So she gone. It's time for lunch. It is time for lunch. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do just that. We've only got about an hour or so for lunch. Oh, now she's gone for 45 minutes, 40 minutes or so, and we'll be back. We've already got the portal set up so you can transition smoothly. Just grab a portal buddy, make the jump, and we'll see you when you land. I'm super excited. I got 2 things in the mail today. I got my fake blood, which glows in the dark. And somewhere I've got my ultraviolet reactive sidewalk chalk. Just going to draw some Halloween designs on the sidewalk for, and the black lights will work. It's basically luminol. It's like luminol, but cheaper. So, all right, tonight when you go home, please hug the people you love, smile at them, and make their day just a little bit better. And please stay safe till we go live again in about 40 minutes. Wait for it. Oh, there it is. Okay. In about 40 minutes when we go live with part 2 of day 3 of the Dustin Mark Duren trial. New Hampshire is trying to prosecute him for murder and a couple other things. And the defense is doing a good job. This man, I don't think, has a claim at all when it comes to ineffective assistance of counsel. His lawyers are fighting tooth and nail every step of the way. And that's why we're up to 34 sidebars on this one. So enjoy your lunch. We'll be back. More video to follow. We've got about an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 45 minutes left of interrogation video. We'll have better graphics so you guys can read what the text is, even if we can't hear. I'll do my best on the audio as well, but we'll get that figured out. You guys have a wonderful lunch, and we'll see you afterwards. Bye-bye.
Hello.
Because he's the guy.
Thank you, sir. You're my new best friend.
Hush! Now I'm trying to have court. You don't raise your voice again.